Let's get started with the demo of that complete quiz app that I will build and host during this session using .NET Blazor WebAssembly with Firebase DB and Firebase authentications. So now see here my application got hosted. That means it is deployed, which is free, and my application got running as well. And there is a two features over here, that is a login and registered, right? So if you don't have a login, so you can just register over here, and you have already account, so you can just go to over here and log in. So I already create a user. So what I will do, I will just logged in with this admin. So what is my password? This is my logged in user and password. So once I sign in, so if it is authenticated, so it will sign in and see it is authentication, and you are able to see that question list, start quiz and logouts things, right? If you user click that logout, it will logged out, right? And also you're able to see once I logged in, so whatever logged in user name, it will prompt over here. And if I start quiz, so I can start that quiz, and like this way I can just complete our quiz and I will get that score. So for example like this, so let me complete. I think there's many questions over here, almost 10 questions. So let me complete quickly, and that is done. Now see, once I complete that quiz, you're able to see that informations, that is the correct questions and what is the wrong questions and what is the total scores, so that you are able to see over here. And also there is a question list options which will returning whatever that questions over here as admin user, so you can able to see, as well as if you want to create a new questions, so you can just create a new questions as well. Like for example, complete quiz app via admin, right? And that options like would be this and this and this, and then whatever answer you want to choose over here, so that would be a correct answer, right? So let me just add it. So once you add it, it will redirect to our question list, and in this question list you will see, and you will see that whatever you just see, this is that my newly added questions which have that 4 options, whatever options, you can just see it over here. And once I click edit, if you want to edit something, if you want to edit, so that data will be populated over here and you can just edit over here. Like for example, I just misspell over here, right? So complete quiz app via admin, and then simply I can just change it over here and update it. So once I update it, now it should be changed over here as well. So this complete actually data will be saved in our Firebase DB as well. So this is that flow if it admin user. So if you are logged in with this non-admin user, so what will happen? So that I would like to show you. So what I need to do, simple, let me log out from here as well, or you can just log out from here as well. So let me log out and that log in again, and just user let me logged in with the user logged in, right? And this user has only just user role. So once I'll sign in, so it is also sign in, right, with this, that whatever user. So this is a user which I signed in, and also user can just start quiz whatever questions over here. But here just restriction also should be a restriction over here, as a question also should not appearing at the user role. But I'll just show you as a demonstration perspective. So let me show you. It is just user can able to see that, read that questions, but not able to write that questions. So for example, once I add it for these questions, if I want to update, so I will get the options like, okay, you are not authorized because the data is protected over here. Like, okay, only that admin user can add, update or write that answer or questions, right? But non-admin user not able to do that, right? So that's why I'll just over here and just question list again. User can see that same things. If I trying to edit some questions over here like this and this, and once I add, so again you will get that same things, because this user does not have that roles which will can you add and update. that data, like questions data, right? So that's why it is there. So this is that complete application we trying to build over here. So let's start. So before we start implementation, I'm especially recommend, if you first time my channel, so go to my channel, which is .NET Real World Example, and here I'm especially recommend this session. So this session actually I already create a quiz app in a 20-minute, which is just a in-memory data, not in the real base data and authentication, right? So just I will take the same example over here, right, which I already shared in my GitHub link. And apart from that, you can just see many other things over here, like you can just implement .NET MAUI application, you can implement your hybrid app, Blazor hybrid app, and also you can just learning a .NET MAUI with BAB app, right? So many things actually you can learn. So if you interested, you can just learn it over here. So now go to my this GitHub links. So this is my GitHub links, which we have that quiz app, which just simply Blazor WebAssembly using that in memory data. So we will just start the implementation, that complete implementation, whatever see in the demo, we will start in this example. So let's just start it. This is my application got open, right? This is nothing, just simple as a Blazor web applications, means Blazor WASM application, right? You can see the .NET SDK, Blazor WebAssembly, and this have nothing much, okay? Only just we have just implement one home page, and we have put some logic, and we have just on in memory data, and we are trying to do. So let's see how actually working that currently this current application, and after that we will just modify with this our Firebase DB. So let me run it. Now my application got running. Now see, this is a quiz app, but without Firebase DB. It is just simple in memory data. So once I click this, so see, same functionality over here in memory as well. So once you click, so you will get that options, like what are that correct answer, what is that wrong answer, what is the total of that out of that questions, right? So those things is in memory, but we will implement over here. So let's just start. So before we start, you have to just create one database in this console Firebase DB. So logged in your Google account, and just open with the console Firebase Google account, and you can just create a new project over here. But yeah, I already covered in a many session, you can go to there. So I will not create a new project, but yeah, it's very simple, just create and just set everything, and that's fine, okay? So I will use that existing one. So this is that one we will use. So here nothing, I just create a real-time database, right? So here this real-time database I have just created, along with I set that rules, right? As of now, just all the rules I set, actually everyone can just read and write, so everyone have an access. So that also will be protected in upcoming session. But yeah, this is the sample database, we just real-time database we have to create it. We will use this guy, okay? So simply I can just copy this guy and go to my applications, and here what I will do, instead of mess up on this application, this current implementation, I have to just create a new let me stop that. Let me create a new component, new Blazor component over here. And in this component, what I will do, I'll just simply just can create a name, the quiz. So let me create a name over here. I will show you that from the scratch, so that you have idea actually how we can use it, okay? So now our quiz app got created, right? Means quiz component got created, and here simply what I can do, I can just set as a page directory over here, and I can just remove this guy because we don't require. And for this, actually for that Firebase DB connectivity, we required actually Firebase client, right? So those Firebase client, we have a one library, so that library I have to use, and the NuGet package means I have to install that NuGet package. So go to that NuGet package, search for Firebase, this guy, see, Firebase database.net. So this is that package which will allow actually see complex C# library, real-time data built in on top the Firebase REST API, among with the others support followers, right? So that I can use it. for that connectivity and store the data and get the data, right? So yeah, accepted. And once it's done, now go back to over here and you have to just injected that Firebase client on the in this component so that I can use it. And we have to record one namespace, so just bring that namespace, and this namespace I will keep it in our common or global place so that I don't need specify that all that components, because this client actually I record that other components as well, right? So that is done. And once you inject it, now I have to inject it other service as well, like navigation manager, so that I can navigate to other place as well. So once it's done, so first of all I will just create a questions list, right? So for that questions list I have to create one model for that, right? So let me just create a questions over here. So what I need to do, I have to just simply create a new folder, and in this folder just store as a model, and in this model just add a class and just add that questions, right? So this is that questions class, and in this question class whatever that options we record, means whatever the property we record, so that we can store it. Like see, in this questions we record ID, whatever the ID that particular questions, what are the text, means what are the questions, like what is that questions, right? So that we can store in the text. And this is that options, means whatever that options, that particular questions, like one question has a five options, 6 options, so whatever options I have to take the list of the string, right? So that is done. Now once it's done, now go back, right? And here I have to just mention or I've just set that variable over here, right? Means that create a variable and bring that namespace of that model, and also this model I have to move it to my global place, right? So that I don't need to declare all that components. So go back here, come back again that quiz component, and here other property also we have to declare. Like first we have to declare that questions which we'll trying to bind over here, and then we required one property which we have set it, like what is that current question index. So like suppose I have a 3 questions, so whatever questions like first index, second index, third index, so that we will store. So from here, and by default we have to set it to 0, right? And then also we have to record one score field, so that I can just getting that score, like if you correct answer, choose that correct answer, so I can just store I can store that score property, whatever that is here. And I have to use is loading button, so that if take some time to loading the data, so I can show some style and some loading image and all, right? So that we have to do that. And also another property we need, that is answer. So if answer is answering, we have that answering that question, so we have to set it over here. So by default it is false, but yeah, we have to use. And also we have to record another property that is has answer, means if I complete that answer, right? So that we have to store over here, right? And then also we record one more field or one more property, this is correct. So if it is correct or not, means it is correct or wrong, right? So not correct and not correct, so that we have to store over here, and based on this we can use it, right? And then we have to record another property which is just storing that correct answer index. Like suppose whatever correct answer index which is correct or not, so that we have to storing as an index property in this correct answer, right? So suppose there's a 4 options, so what is that correct index, right? So that we have to store over here. And then finally the last property we have to need over here, that is select answer index. Since whatever that answer we have to got selected, means whatever options or whatever answer actually we have to select it, right? So that answer we can store as an index over here, right? So these are property actually we required. So as of now, if it is not clear, don't worry. Once I implement, once I create a functions, definitely you will get an idea what we are trying to do. Okay, so now we have to create one method which will actually call our now Firebase DB and get the data, like whatever the questions we have, that we can just get it over here. So like that we are using the load quiz data over here, right? And the first actually we have to set over here this guy, like is loading true. Like suppose once we have to complete load this function, so that till now we have to show that is loading, and based on the is loading we have to actually shows that some image and all, right, so that user can wait, right. And we can just use the try catch, right, so that if any error and all, so that we can just also make sure like we can catching over here, right. And then here I will use await, right, and in this await and Firebase client, right, whatever Firebase client we have just is now injected over here, this guy, so that client we have to use, right. And dot we have to use child, right. And in this child, whatever that collection, like for example if you go back over here, see this questions collections be required, right. So that's why we have to just use this guy, copy and go back over here. So whatever name you prefer your collections, so you can just use it. As of now I will using this guy, so you can just use as per your, right. And then I will use over here once async, right. In this once asyncs, there's a passing that what kind of we have to deserialize as well, right. Suppose whatever questions we are getting, so we have to deserialize, right. So that we have to just passing as a type over here. So these are actually this questions model, right. So this I want to deserialize and just storing over here, and I will just store as a variable whatever returning the data from that Firebase. So I'm using as a snapshot, and here once I get that snapshot, right, so let me use this guy over here and dot select, and then using the link query over here and just using that item. So whatever item I'm getting, so each item has a item object, right. So in this item object we have to get it over here, and then finally is to list, which it will return that to list all that item object, because Firebase DB actually that returning the data is this in this object, right. So that's why I'm just getting that select that object, and then we have to overing over here, and then finally this is that variable, right, which we have set it, so that we have to assigning over here, and we can get the data all that Firebase DB we have to data from here. So this is done, and if you have any error and all, we can handle over here. So as of now I'll just keep it a blank over here, and then finally what I am trying to do over here, I will use as a finally block. In this finally block, suppose if any error and all, so what I will do, I will just is loading should be a false, means in this call means whatever is call, right, so it will complete, so it will go to that finally block and it will set its false, so that loader button or loader image or loader icon has been gone, right. So this is done, so means that quiz method is done. Now what I will do, I have to just call on this component lifecycle hook method, like on an initialize lifecycle hook method, right. So what I will do, simply I have to call that override method on initialize method async1, and simply I can remove this guy, and I will use await and load data, load quiz data, right. So simply I can use this, I can call from this data, so that initial level I can call it and I can set it over here, and based on this I can just bind in over here. So I will bind over here a little bit later, but yeah, just complete my functionality, so then we will use it. Okay, so now once is done, right, so suppose this options, this list I just get it the data from Firebase DB and set it, and now we have to create another function which will just once I show you as a demo, right. So it is gone, yeah, that is gone, but yeah, once I choose any options, right, so once I choose any options, so it is calling again another DB, which is we are getting the data from that answer, that particular questions has an answer, right. So don't worry about that, those are things we will create actually that another screen or another component where I can just create a questions and along with the answer, so that also we will create it. But yeah, this answer we have to get it from that answer, and we have to actually compare that whatever that questions we have selected, so that question answer is actually accurate or just equal or not. So those function, that function actually I have to just create it. So what I need to do for that, I have to just create another function, like for example this, right? So I have just created another function like answer questions, right? And in this answer question we require two parameter. One is that question ID, the what particular question actually we trying to no, trying to give that answer, right? So that question ID along with the selected answer index, like suppose whatever index I choose, right, that particular options, so that answer index also we are getting from here, right? And then what I have to do, simply I have to check, right? So if is answering or has answer completed, so it will return in, go back over here. If it is not, so then first I will just set it over here, means I am just trying to answering, right? So just start the answering, and then once I answering, so I have to just select answer index, so that I will just set it whatever that selected answer, like this guy, right? So this I just use it over here, right? So this selected answer task I have to set it over here, whatever the selected answer index we are getting over here, right? So that we have to set it over here. So once you set, now we have to use our try catch. In this try catch I will just call our Firebase DB. So again it's simply I have to call as like we have to call on a load data sync, right? So simply I have to just call same things over here, like for example this guy. So let me call this guy like await Firebase client and then child and whatever that collection name, right? And in this collection name we have another things actually, that another child, right? So for example, so let me add as a child, right? And then once I add the child here, I have to pass that particular questions ID, right? So this is question ID that I want to get it over here, so that I will pass it like first I will pass as a child as an answer, right? Means whatever the collections. So this is my collections, right? And in this collection whatever questions, like see these are the questions. So in these questions I have to just pass so that questions over here as a question ID, and then I have to get once, which I want to get that single, right? So there's an extension method of that single, so let me call it that method, and simply I have to pass that collection what I am trying to deserialize. Like see, for example, if you go back to over here, so this is two things we record, like correct option index and as well as question ID, right? So those two things actually we record. So what I need to do, as like we have to create another model that questions, so I have to just create another model that is answer. So let me quickly add another class or that model that is answer, and in this answer whatever actually property we required, so this two property we required as a questions and that correct options index, right? So that we have to get it over here and go back and use this answer over here, means answer model over here, and finally close that. So let me close over here, and it is actually required some namespace, that database Firebase query. So I will just use this query, because if I using two times, so definitely I record this guy. So let me keep it in our global place, so that another component also can reuse this guy. So save it, go back and go down. Now we are getting the data over here, so let me store as an answer over here, right? So this is the answer we are getting from the Firebase DB, and once I get, so now I have to check, like if it is answer is not null, then we have to put some logic over here, right? So might be could be that answer can be null, right? If it is not match, or if this ID is not match, so definitely I will get that not answer would be null, right? So now what I need to do first over here in this, if it is answer is there, so whatever answer I have, right, so this is the correct index, so that I will store over here. It is a correct answer index which I just created over here, right? So that's why I just created, see, correct answer index means whatever is correct answer from the database I'm getting over here and assigning to over here, right? This is that one things. And another things actually also we have to do, so I have to just storing just is correct property. So what is that is correct property? Suppose whatever that is correct, is correct or fail. Might be it should be a no, wrong, so user choose the wrong answer, so that means it is should be false, or it is choose the correct one, so it will should be is a true. So based on this we can store. So what I need to do, simply I have to just store that whatever the select answer index, so that I just equal to over here, and that correct index I'm just assigning over here, like this way. And then once is correct or fail, so if it is correct means we have to store, we have to adding that score, right? So whatever is score, so now I just using that score, right? So see, this is a score by default 0. Suppose is correct means if it is user choose the correct answer, so then I've just +1 add on this score, right? So this is that logic, actually we have stored that score. So once is done, now finally after that is if condition, I have to just set as answer is true, means I just complete this answer, I will just choose or complete that answer, so that's why I use that has answer as a set as a true. So that is done. Now also in this exception, you can just handle like okay, whatever that error and all, so that we can handle like adding a log and all right, so that we can do. And then finally in the last, like in the finally block, what I will do, just simply I can use this finally block, just set whatever actually we have to set from that starting is answering the true, right? So that we have to set is over here, like is answering is false. And also we can just use as a state change, like suppose whatever that property we have to assign the value, and also that got change of state change, so we can use as a state change, right? So that is done. Now that answering part also done, right? So now I have to record another function that is called as a next question. Suppose user choose or I'll just leave it that part, that we will do in later. Yeah, so first let me design our HTML, so that once I design, so definitely we'll get that idea what I'm trying to do. Okay, so as of now we are good, like answering and load data async, that two things is done. And one more thing actually we required. So yeah, so based on this yeah, one more function is required actually, that is important. So yeah, so once I choose any options, right? So suppose if I choose any options, so what is that correct options and wrong options, so that we will do as a programmatically, right? So that's why I have to create another functions over here. So for example, this is that function, and let me just start this. Okay, so this function, just whatever the option index from that particular questions, I will get it from here. And here what I will do, I will just check it, right? So if that has answer is false, so just simply return as a options class. So this is actually class. So this class actually this CSS class, we will just build it so that this can be better look feel in our question and options, right? So that's why we have to do that. Yeah, so then another condition would be over here. Suppose for example, so if option index is a correct answer, like suppose it is a correct answer, so it will add this class, like option is correct, so that will add. Simply we have to record some class, so that based on this we can identify okay, it is correct or wrong, and like that. Okay, and another options would be like suppose user choose the wrong answer, right? So based on this condition we can set it, okay, this is option is user has choose wrong, right? And then finally we have to return as a simple options, right? Means that does not anything, just simple options, right? So this method is required. Okay, so this is done. Now just we have to build our HTML file, means our design. So first what I can do, I have to just design. I already has a design, so let me just create it over here. See, I just create a if condition and just checking away it is loading, means if is loading is true, so it will appearing some spinner border, or some loading animations, right? So that we can do whatever we want, so we can just set it over here. But yeah, after that If it is loading is not there, means it is loading is true or it is false, so then we have to create another else if conditions, right? In this else if condition, what I can do, I can just set, okay, I'll just checking, okay, what is that current question index? It should be less than equal to less than question count, means till less than question count, it will appearing that questions. Like suppose I have a 3 questions, so till 3 till 3 less than 3, so it will show that all that questions. Once you complete the 3, then it should be another things, like suppose else condition, it will show this guy, like whatever that result, right? So that I can create it over here, but yeah, we can just create another component that we can keep it over here and we can show the result. But yeah, as of now I will just keep it this guy, right? So that it can easy to understand. So now it comes to this section. This section is a very complex section. So what I will do first, let me just add titles, right? So this is a question application, quiz application with the Firebase DB, just a title perspective. And then what I can do, I have to just store as a whatever that questions, and that whatever that current question index, right? So we can store over here and we can get that questions. Once I get that questions, I have to just create quiz container over here. So let me create a quiz container over here. For example, let me create a div, and this is the div, and just close the div and like that, right? And this is a just quiz container, and we actually not required as well, but yeah, that's fine. And then what I can do, I have to show that questions as a that is a questions number, and this is a question text, means whatever that questions, right? So that we can add it over here. And then we have to required one condition, like whatever questions has a options, right? So this questions has a multiple options, so that we have to iterate and bind it over here. So that we have to put a for each loop, or just use that for loop, and we can bind it over here. Like see, I've just created another options class over here. And this option class, what I'm trying to do, simply whatever question options we have to looping from here, and we have to just create it a button, right? And in this button, simply see, this is that method, right? Get option class, which we just created, which will simply return whatever that index based on this is will return in that class name, right? So that class we have to bind it over here. And then we have a on click options, right? And this on click options, we have used that answer questions, that is this guy, right? So suppose I have choose any answer, so that will tell, okay, it is right and wrong. Based on the right and wrong, we have to store the score, that adding that score and all. And also we have to set the additional things over here, is correct or fail, right? So based on that is correct or fail, we have to show that some options over here. And also we have to disable if it is is answering is true, or no, has answer is completed, right? So that also this button, all that button options will be disabled, right? This is a simple logic, I think. Yeah. So once it's done, now what I need to do, I have to put some other logic over here. For example, suppose if has answer, it means suppose answer has completed, right? So once your answer is completed, what I can do, I have to just put some additional things over here. So for example, this guy, right? So if user has completed that answer, right? So what should we show over here? It will show one of the feedback, right? So this is that feedback style, for example, over here. So see, I have just used another feedback, right? And in this feedback, I've just used simply p tag paragraph over here, and here just use this is correct. So if it is correct, so that I will show that correct class. If it is wrong, so it is not correct, so that means it will show that wrong. Based on this, we will show that, okay, the red color and that green color, right? So based on this, and also we have to show that, you know, text like, okay, if it is correct, so yeah, it is correct. If it is incorrect, so then that answer is was that the correct answer is this guy, so that also show that no message as well. So this is has answer is there, and then inside this guy, okay, if it is has answer, we have to put some another logic, right? So what is that logic? So there's a one another logic, we can put it over here. For example, see, if it is whatever that current question index or that question count index -1, suppose it is a last questions, right? So if it is last question, so it will show the next button, and if it is the last question, it's completed, so that will show that, you know, the result button, and if it is not, so it will show that next button. So that is actually the simple logic over here, we have to put it over here. So what I can do, simply I just create another button which is the next, right? So this next question I have to just create it, next method I have to just create it, which will create a little bit later, yeah. But yeah, so if it is it is not a last questions, right? Last question answer. So in this else part, and yeah, in this else part I will show as a button, means a show button, which we can just called, you know, submit button, which will can send the data, whatever that current is code, the data we can store in our database, like for example this guy result. So once I complete that questions, means complete attempt all the questions, we can send the data inside this result section, means result data, right? So that's why actually we have to. So as of now, see, this two method is not there, so that we have to just create it. So go back, go down over here, and let me create the two functions over here. So first function is a next button. So next button, nothing, we have to set whatever that property, we have to set it over here like that. Suppose, see, next questions button, what we are trying to do, simply if I click that next button, so whatever that current question index, we will just increment, and has answer is false, incorrect is false, as correct answer -1, select answer -1, and a state change. Simply we have to reset that all that property, right? And then what other need to implement? Yes, the so submit result, right? So in this submit result, definitely we have to call again another method, which we can call, we have to submit our data to our Firebase DB. So what I can do, I just simply create another method over here as a submit result, right? And in the submit result, I have to just simply call that Firebase DB to submit, like I will use that post method, right? So see, Firebase client child, whatever that child collection, it is a result. And here actually in later part we will use that specific user. Suppose user is logged in with that whatever user ID, right? So that ID actually we have to trying to add over here inside result. See, so suppose user ID 1 trying to attempt that question, so user ID 1 should be over here. User ID 2 attempt that question, so that another collection will be over here, user ID 2. So based on that user ID, I will storing over here, so that I can show you that how actually rules, or how we can actually secure our data. So that's perspective I'll show you. But as of now, simply I just hard code it over here, but once I authenticated implementation, I will get that current user ID and pass it over here. And then also we have to use another child, which is actually just date time, so that whatever that current, suppose I am trying to use many times on a one day, right? So ideally it should not be happen, but yeah, I'll just show you like this approach. So I'll just storing the date time, whatever that user, which date time actually they're trying to attempt these questions. And then finally whatever that property we are trying to pass it over there, it is a score and time stamp. That's it, right? So that is done. And yeah, so if it is done, so finally I have to just call this guy, so that actually it, once I submit it, so it should be a reset everything properly, and that's it. Now see, our implementation done, also design part also should be done. Let me check it if it is anything is missing. So yeah, as of now it is fine. So might be 2, and then it is container. So this container should be close where is that container? Quiz container here, right? So this container not close over here. Actually this container should close inside this guy. In this else part, actually it should be close it, and yeah, that is fine. But yeah, this is another options. Okay, so this option actually wrongly we have to edit over here. That let me correct it over here. So let me cut from here, and here actually this option section we have to cover that options. Okay, so this is done. Now we have to just add some style. Okay, so let me just quickly add some style. So let me add another style component on that particular here. So razor component or css, and let me add that same name. So what is that name? It is a just quiz, right? So let me add as a quiz dot razor dot css, and then add it. And we have already handy that style. So let me quickly copy that style and paste it over here. See, whatever class we are using, see that quiz container, option, and options hover, options correct, options wrong, feedback correct, next button, right? So all that style actually we have to store, and also it has a result style over there, right? So that is done. Now let me run this application, and before run actually we have to do one thing. So what I need to do, see, I just using this injecting, we have to injecting this Firebase client, right? But we have to register as well. So how we can register? So go to that program.cs file. Here we have to simply register that Firebase client, so that we can avoid over here. So what I can do, simply I can use that builder.services dot add singleton, and in this add singleton I have to just create a new, and that Firebase client, this is new Firebase client, right? And in this new Firebase client I have to just pass our URL, right? So whatever our database URL, so this is my database URL, just copy this guy and go back to over here and simply pass to over here. That's it, right? So like that actually we have to just resolve our dependencies, or register our dependency of Firebase client, so that I can use it. Okay, so this is done. And one last thing we have to do, that go to that layout section, go to that main layout or nab menu, right? And here I will just create another nab menu, for example, instead of this guy. Okay, and let me just remove, or just I can use this counter things to quiz, right? Because our new component is quiz, and also it is a start quiz. So let me start quiz. So save it and just run it. Now my application got running. Click that start quiz, right? See, loading is appearing over here. So let me show one more time. See, loading is working fine. Also we are getting that now first questions over here, right? So in this first question, suppose I am just choosing that wrong answer, right answer, so it is just saying this correct, and also it is appearing that next questions, right? Means it is completed. Also all that you can't choose an again, right? It is all that disabled. And once I click next, again it is showing over here, and just once I click, see, this time it is saying this is you choose, this is wrong, but this is that correct options, and also appearing that message. And once I also appearing the next button, because this is a second question. So once I click that another questions, now if I choose that right answer, so see, this is the right answer. But once I choose the right answer, so here that that last question, and once I last question, so it is showing that show result, right? So that means it is completed. And once I show result, click on that show result, you will see whatever that completed your correct answer and wrong answer, as well as the total score. And same things we can see over here, like see that particular user, that particular date, right? See, this is the one date only, and if you see, this is that last one, it should be is a 2, right? So see, this is the result we have getting storing over here as well. So this is perfectly working fine, like start quiz. Now we have to do one more things, like whatever questions we have over here, that also we have to manage, right? Suppose for example, let me rebuild and see these questions, right? So suppose this question we have to change something, or I want to add more questions, so that we have to manage some questions. So that component we have to build over here as I show in our demo, right? So what I need to do, simply close these applications and go to over here, and I have to just create another component. So let me just create another component, the razor component, and in this razor component, first I will just bind all that no, the questions. So for this I will just create another component that call is questions list, right? Or just quiz list or questions, whatever things actually we have to do, we can just edit. So now I'm just creating this guy, right? And we have to just adding over here for example as a page directive, right? So as a route parameter, route. So this is a quiz list, questions list, or quiz list, whatever things we can do. And here one more thing, actually we have to trying to use that quick grid, like so that we can bind that list in our quick grid. So for that we have to record one package. So let me just quickly add that package over here. So manage NuGet package and look for that quick grid. So where is that quick grid? Yeah, this is that quick grid, and choose this guy, Microsoft ASP.NET quick grid, and just install this guy, whatever the latest one you can choose it. But yeah, by default it will show that preview version over here, but yeah, that is fine. Preview and normal version also is fine, means that stable version also fine. So once you're done, now go back to our component, and here I have to just create some one questions that we can load it over here, right? So we have to record again, we have to record one collections, where we can just iQueryable list, we can just store all the data from that Firebase DB. So we record some property, right? This is the one property, and another one is that is loading, right? So if it is loading true, so it should be a loading image as well, right? And then I will just create a method which will call and get the data, all that questions, right? So see, I just create a load questions, and I just using same things whatever we have done previously, and using that Firebase client. Now see, as of now Firebase client I have not injected, so that actually I have to just inject it. So go back to your this guy, where is that guy? Yeah, so let me just copy these two things and just simply add it over here, and now error has gone. Now simply I can just use this Firebase client child, and questions, we are get that questions, and whatever questions we are getting over here, as like we have done, and just convert it to SQL and assign to our questions, right? And that's it. And then finally we can just handle our error over here, and finally block, we have to load this guy, okay? And we have to call on lifecycle loop method of this particular component, right? So how we can do that? It is simple, we can use that overload method. So overload on initialize method, and in this on initialize method simply I have to call this guy. So await and my method name, and that's it, right? So once I done, now I'm ready to go to create our design, right? So let me just create our design. So before the design, first again I will use that loading logic. So if it is loading, so it will show that something, right? And if it is not loading, means that loading is done. So I'll just put something like, okay, the question count is 0, so there is a no question found over here. So that is logic over here. And then finally I have to just use that else condition. Let me use that else part, and in this else part I have to just use that grid, right? So let me quickly use a grid which I already have, and let me remove some additional things over here. It definitely not required. Yeah, so now see, it is simple grid, right? It is a quick grid. We just bind our questions, right? Questions collections, and be shown that questions means question tags, and whatever that options, right, means how many options over there, and there is some actions, right? Suppose edit, delete, whatever things you want, you can just edit over here, right? And one more thing actually we required, we have to just add, on the top in here as a add new questions, right? So that we have to add it over here, so user can add a new question as well, right? And also what I can do, it is missing actually that namespace, so let me bring that namespace of that quick grid. So let me bring that namespace. It is not properly installed, I guess, or just as of now just commented these things. Okay, and then so let me see again, this package is properly over there or not. So yeah, it is there, but yeah, I think so. What version actually I'm trying to use over here? So yeah, basically I'm using 8, so but I'm using 9, so that's why could be an issue. So let me simply change it to that stable version instead of that. So what is my stable version? Is that my stable version? And just apply. Yeah, it is done. Actually it is installed, right? So now go back to here, go back to your component, and now simply just try to, yeah, now see that I think that compatibility issue, right? So because I'm using .NET 8, but I'm trying to use the preview version, so that's why. But yeah, see, I'm getting this namespace, and this namespace I will just move it to my global place. So this is my global place, and save it, go back. Now I am getting that quick grid, right? So see, this is that quick grid, and just allow that actions, and we will create that all that actions. So right now what I will do, simply first I will just create a add new questions, right? Or just I'll show you, I think yeah, that will be fine. So let me first close that, and also just close that, means comment that, and save it. And what would be my question list, right? So this question list also we can add another nav menu, and go back to here and change it to border forecast to question list, and just add that question list, copy question list, right? Save it and run it. Now it's running, and also we have question list. Once I click that question list, now see, now I'm getting that whatever data, whatever questions I have as of now, so those question list we are getting. But yeah, as of now style also is not good, but yeah, that style I will just adding over here, so that is fine. Now we have to adding all that functionality like add, edit, and delete as well. So delete part we have not covered over here, but yeah, delete also it's pretty much simple. So go to component, and here where is that? Okay, so go to my questions razor component, and just open this guy, right? And we have to create that add new questions, right? So what I can do, I have to just simply create a method add questions. So go back to here and just collapse this button, a method, and just create a method as a add new questions. And here what I will do, I will just simply navigate to that particular component. So that component also we have to just create it. As of now I don't have that manage question actually be where we can just manage all questions like add and edit also, right? So that we have to do over here, but as of now this fine. And also we have to just create edit functions. So edit function also is pretty much simple, similar, like whatever just getting that ID, we have that passing that manage question as a pass as the ID, right? So that call same same component for that add and edit as well. And then the last things also we can just handle as a delete one, right? So the delete also as of now not required, but yeah, we can just create as a delete function, and we can just simply delete from the database, right? So that also I covered, but yeah, that is fine. But simply just enable this guy and enable also this guy. Now it looks good. And now we have to just create this component to manage questions, right? So let me quickly create that component. That is called, go back to over here, right click over here, add a new component, and go to here and add it. Okay, and here simply first I have to just adding a page directory. So this is my page directory, right? Means that URI, route URI, and this is a manage questions, and if I pass that question, that means edit. If it is not passed on a question ID, so that means it is simply it is called new questions, means add a question. So what I can do first I have to just add this things, right? Means Firebase client injected and navigate manager also injected, and then we have to just whatever just parameter, right? So that parameter you have to set that parameter as a property, as a parameter, so that whatever component that parent component pass that questions, we can get it over here. So once I get it over here, I have to again load that questions, means that particular question I have to load based on this question ID, right? So that for that what I can do, I have to just create one method which will can get it data from Firebase. So load question y id, right? So y id. So it is just simple again, just as like before we have done, right? So what I need to do, simply I just use a try catch, and in this try catch, let me exception, and we can handle exception. And here I've just used that Firebase client using the child. This is that collection, and also pass this as a question ID, and we can get only just single records. So it will return only just single record based on these questions, right? So once I get it over here, I have to check something, like for example, like if it is not null, right? Then I put some logic over here, like if it is load questions or it's not null, then whatever questions I have just set it over here, right? But a model, so that I have to storing over here. So let me just create that questions, some property actually is missing. So see, this questions property, I have to just create it. I have to just create a property, for example this guy, and this is something, just whatever questions, right? That question has options, and first it is just actually to blank, right? Suppose I'll show you what does mean actually. That options by default will provide, if it is a new question we are trying to add, so the two option would be as a blank, right? So that user can add that options, that particular questions, right? So that's why we have to just create this guy, and these questions we have to just assign over here. This is one thing. And another things also, we have to just add that correct answer index, so that is 0, and by default is 0. And one more thing actually we have to do, if it is the new questions and old questions, that we can define based on this question ID directly over here, so that we can identify, okay. And also if it's not required, we directly use and also this question ID, but yeah, this is the right way actually. So once it's done, now see, this is done. Now what I need to do further actually, I have to, once I get that questions, right? So only we have to not show that questions, we have to show that we have to store that answer as well, right? So that's why we have to call that answer things as well. So how we can call it answer one? It is simple. After that, we have to call that Firebase client again and call that answer one and pass it that question ID, and based on this again I will get that answer, that particular answer. And if it is that answer correct, it means answer correct and wrong, so based on this we can set that another things. Okay, if it is not equal to null, then whatever that correct answer we have to set, okay, this is that correct answer and this is that correct answer, right? It's set this variable. Once it's done, that is done, and we don't need to additionally things over here, that is perfectly fine. And yeah, and then what I need to do, I have to use some add options, like there is a I I show you in the demo, there's options like if I user want to add more options, right? So that what I can do, simply just create the options, add options, right? Don't worry about that. This function, once I create the now design, I'll show you why I have to create it. So this is add option. Simply whatever that questions options, we have to simply add as a blank space, and in this here, like that is by default 2, and once I add, so it will adding another one, it's 3 blank, so that user can add that options over here. And also we have to just create a remove options, like whatever that options, if by mistakenly we have added wrongly, so we can just remove as well. So what for this, we have to simply using that particular index, and we have to just checking over there if it is less than 2, because we keep it only just 2, we will remaining, otherwise we can, and then we have to just removing, and thus this is a simple logic to remove that particular options, right? So this is done, and finally we have to create a submit. Submit means, suppose once I finally click, once I add a new question, so we have to just submit that questions in our question and answer in our database, right? So that function we have to just create it over here. For example, the handle submitted, and here simply I have to use the try catch, and in this try catch we can use ex, so that I can get it that exception and all. And here first I have to just checking, like, okay, if it is new, so that means, so whatever is that news UID, we have to assign to that question ID, right? And then we have to call that Firebase client over here, and this Firebase client in questions, we have to just put that questions, particular questions, whatever questions we have to adding over here, the complete model we have to pass it to over here, so that we can add that questions, right? And same things we have to do for that answer as well. So let me add answer as well. This particular, what is that particular question has an answer, right? So there is a 2 collections, so that we can add it. So let me bring that over here so that you can see clearly over here. So see, this is question we have to put, and also this is that answer correction we have to put based on this question ID, right? So like that we have to adding over here, and finally once it's done, it should be a redirect to our main page, means our list page, or I guess it should be a list page also. So what is my list page? So this is my question list, right? So this is my list page, so I can copy and just add it over here. Yeah, so it should be redirect to our that page, right? And then once it's done, now once last things we have to do, that there is a cancel button also we have to just create it, so that what I can just go back to our that particular our question list, right? So this is done, like, see, the handle also done, and go back also done, and this also load is done. So finally I have to just call that overload method on initialize async, and in this on initialize method we have to call this guy, and like this, await, and this method, and that's it, right? And now we have to good to go to create our design. So what is my design, how it look like? It is very simple. It's just simple as a form. So I just simply copy from my here, right? So simply see, it is just simple. We are trying to get, okay, if it is new, so it is add question, or is it update questions, or it is just simple edit form, and in this edit form we have to bind that questions, and also these method which we are trying to submit, and then there is also validation and all, and this is that input field, whatever questions, right? So we can add it over here, add over here, and this is that options field. Actually this is a options field, and also if I want to add more options, so I can just add it more options, and also there's a remove button. So if I remove that particular option, so I can remove a call like that, right? And whatever just edit functionality, right? So whatever input we have to edit, like whatever that options, right? So suppose I have added 5 options, so 5 options will be here to just check, okay, this which one is corrected options answer, right? So like that, and this is just finally button add or update, and also this is a go back button. So this is done. Now save it and run it and see in actions how actually it is look like. So style perspective, I think it is not good, but yeah, let me check that functionality. So go to that question list. Now see, I'm getting that edit and all, right? So if I click that edit, so now see, it is perfectly working fine. I'm getting the data, and whatever that options I have over here. If I want to add more options, so I can add it over here, and also if I remove, so I can remove. And whatever that correct answer is over here, so see, this is also is got selected. And if I want to update, so I can update it as well. So let me try to update. Like for example, what is that capital France? So let me add like 1, right? And just update. So once I update, it should be back over here. And if you see over here, now see, this is got updated, right? Branch 1, which I just added over here. And let me just undo over here again. So remove this guy and just update it. Now it's got updated as well. Now try to new questions over here. So what would be that new questions? For example, I want to just add one questions. So let me add a one random questions for related to Angular. So let me add what is that questions, like what is the pipe. So there is a four options, like, so first options would be is this guy, right? And then another question option is this guy. So another way, and now we have to add more, right? So what I will do, I just simply add, and then just add it over here, add options, and then what would be the last options? It would be this is that last options, right? And what is that correct answer is? Correct answer is index 1, right? So this is 0, this is 1. So what I can do, I will choose option 2 because this is index 1, and add these questions. So once I add, it should be added, and you are able to see this is just newly added these questions I'm getting over here. As well as if I just add it, I will get that whatever question I have added, that particular options along with I am getting over here, right? So that is perfectly working fine. Add, edit, everything is working fine. And same question, once I add it over here, definitely you will get from here. For example, see, this is that first question I'm getting. This is that whatever question I just added. So index, we can verify also it is a correct or not. So index 1 is a correct option. So this is that a correct options, right? And once in next, this is that wrong options, and this is that wrong options, and this is the correct options, right? And this time correct is a 2 is a correct, 2 is fails. So that also will update it in our database. So let me show you the database, and here the last one, yes, this is that last one. If you see, the 2 is the 2 score, you get the 2 score. So like that. And also if you see that questions, whatever the new questions I have just added, right? So this is that edit a new questions. Let me see based on that name. No, this is not that one, I guess this is that one. Yeah, so this is that one, right? Whatever new question I added, it will go on the top. Same things, we can check it the answer as well. So yeah, so this is that questions ID, and this is that answer. So that's all for this session. But yeah, in upcoming session we will do some advanced quiz app. We will build an advanced quiz app, and also we will upcoming session we will try to implement the authentication and authorization, and then finally we will try to deploy it as well. So first what I need to do, so first I have to just create a custom authentication folder, so where I can just implement all our logic. So first I just need to create a new folder. So folder name, I can just use it a custom auth, right? And in this custom auth, first I have to just create one interface so that I can use that all that implementation in another place. So right click on that, and this folder, create a new class and choose the interface, and choose it that name, account management, add it. So now this is my I account management, right? So here I have to just declare all that method. So I have to just declare a few method, for example. So I have to require few declaration method over here. So first of all, I have to require the register method, right? So this is just a register method. Let me just bring to new line so that you are able to see I have just created a register because I want user can just register their user on, right? And also another method would be that logged in, like user can able to log in, right? And then also that another declaration method would be a logout, right? So user simply can just log out. And that another method that we have to required, that is now check authenticated. So here this method will be authenticated. Okay, this user, whatever particular user, that logged in user or before logged in, that we can check it. Okay, this user has authenticate or not, so that we have to check in this method. So now we have to create this model so that whatever response we can store over here. So let me quickly create a class and a model class over here, add a new class, and we can prepare our that response model. So from result over here, and this from result we just simply return two things over here. One is that succeed, if it is succeeds to true. If it is false, so that means if it is equals false, so that will return false. And also that error results, whatever that error and all we can store over here. Then go back and just bring back to that namespace, and that's it, right? So now this for method we have to implement, and we can this using this for method we have to just authentication authorization we have to complete it, right? So that is done. Now account management has been done. Now what I need to do, I have to just create a implementation of that, right? So for that implementation, what I can do, I have to just create a concrete class for that. So right click on that over here and create a new class and make it that name, whatever name you want. But yeah, I just suggested over here as a custom authentication state provider, because I am using that custom authentication state provider. So that's why I'm just using this custom authentication. And here I have to simply require that authentication state provider, right? So for that I have to just using this authentication state provider class, and this actually we have to bring that namespace, right? So we have to just install this namespace. So this is that namespace which we have to require, this guy. So Microsoft ASP.NET component authorization. So I have to just install this package. So simply you can just install directly over here, and also yeah, you can just simply directly over here. So find that and install that. So it will automatically find it and install it. So now it's got installed, and before that you have to just check it. Okay, what version actually they have installed. So as of now they install whatever that current version, right? So this is perfectly fine, because we have to make sure whatever that your framework we are trying to use. So as of now I'm just using WebAssembly .NET 8. So all that compatibility or about that compatibility we have to use that .NET 8 version. So that's why we have to make sure. Okay, so once you done, what I need to do for next I have to just inherit that whatever actually that class be, whatever that in interface I have to create it, right? So that interface, like for example I account management, we have to just create it, right? So all that implementation we have to done over here. So that's why we just inherit that. Okay, let me bring that so that you can able to see easily. Okay, so what you need to do first actually we have to generate custom authentication state provider method, right? So that we have to just create it. For that, how we can use it, like override, and you can just use that, yeah, this guy, get authentication state provider. So this is one thing. Now see, the error has been gone over here, but now this error is still pending because there's a many implementation over here. So that we have to just implement, because there's a signature method over there, right? So let me just quickly edit all that default implementation. So here all the default implementation for that login, logout, and registered, and also get authentication state provider, right? So that is done. Now we have to we have to implement one by one. So first I have to just implement this guy, get authentication state provider. So let me start for that. So for that we have to just declare few method, means few property over here. So first I have to require that authenticated property. So let me just create first authenticated property. So by default it should be a false. Then I have to just create a claim. So claim principal I have to just declare also. So now we have to just create an unauthenticated claim principal, right? And then we have to require a few other things also, so that we will declare in later, but yeah, as of now it is fine. Now go to that method. Where is our method? Yeah, this is that method. So now we have to start implementation. First I have to just set it by default. Once I come into this method, so by default authenticated will be false, right? And once it false, now we have to set our user, so that user is not authenticated, right? So that we have to set, okay, by default it is not authenticated. So that also we have to set on the initial level. Then we have to just try, use the try catch, because I have to do some logic over here. So if it is fail anything and all, so we can just capture in this here, we can put that log and all, and we can did something over there, right? So like that actually we have to do the try catch. And inside the try catch, now we have to require that token, right? Because see, this method every time it's called this method while authenticated, right? So that time every time actually be idea, actually what is the idea? So once I logged in, so whatever logged in user get the token, I have to keep it in our local storage. So once I keep the local storage, so that token I have to get it from that local storage, and further I have to use and authenticate based on this token. Okay, this token is valid or not, and this token has a claims and all. So everything we have to do that. So that's why we have to first actually we have to just implement that login mechanism, so that you can understand, okay, why I'm using that token and all, right? So that's why let me just move it to next implementation is a logged in user. So let me just start to logged in user. First implement that login user, because that is a dependent on that one. So that's why I have to just use it. For that logged in user, I have to require Firebase Auth client. So as of now, see, there's a no Firebase Auth client. So let me just import it, or just inject it, that Firebase Auth client, so that I can use their method and all. So basically we are using over here Firebase Auth, right? So that Firebase Auth, we have to one client over there. So let me just create a constructor of that particular class. So this is just create a constructor and just injected that Firebase client. And for this Firebase client, again we have to require actually that namespace or that package, right? So what is that package we have to require? So go to that application, right click on that, and go to that NuGet package. Where is that NuGet package? Here's the NuGet package, and we have to just look for Firebase authentication, right? So look for that Firebase authentication, and we'll look for that Firebase authentication.net, and just install whatever latest version. So let me quickly install that guy. So now once installed, now go back over here, and now see, now I'm able to see this Firebase auth namespace, and just bring back that Firebase namespace, and just use the declare that variable, and just create and assign as a private property, right? So this is that private property, just we have to just declare and assign to this private property, so that I can use this private property in our method. So go back to again that login method here, and in this login method we have to call one of the login method, sign in method over here using that. Okay, so first what I need to do, I am using await using that Firebase client, and in this Firebase client we have a sign in with this email and password. So based on this, see, based on this email and password, they will just returning back and a user credentials, right? So let me quickly store as a user credential as a where result, as a storing as a result over here, and also just bring back to that new line, so that you can easily see that what actually we are trying to do. Okay, so now once I get over here, what I need to do, I just simply check it, like whatever that that result have that user, right? So if that whatever UUID is not equal to null, right? So that means it is logged in successful, right? So if it is logged in successful, then what I need to do, I have to set that information, right? Whatever that information. Now see, user, if you see over here, that user have many things, like for example, user have a credentials. So in this credentials we have a token. So what I need to do, I have to just store this complete credential information in our local storage. So again, I have to do another package we have to require for that local storage. So what is that name? That is name. Again, go back to here, I have to add another package. So go to over here and close that and look for that Blazor local storage, right? So this is that package which we have to use so that I can store whatever information in our local storage, right? So let me quickly install that, apply that. So once you're done, now go back to your application in this login method, and here I have to just now store whatever that credentials information we have to just store over here. So how we can do that? It's very simple. Again, just simple. Okay, now I have to just inject this local services, right? So let me go up and go to that constructor, and in this constructor, let me bring back to new line, and here I have to just inject that Blazor local storage service. So this is a iLocal storage, and using that, again we have to just create a new private property and assign to over here so that I can use it. Now see, my local storage got ready to use. Now go back to over here. Now my local storage, there is a set method where I can just set that information. Now see, I just pass it the key. So this is my key, and this is that complete information which I want to store it. So in this user auth, we have to storing all that credentials information, like token and expiry date and all, or refresh token, everything actually stored in this credential. So that I will store in over here, and this one I have to use in here. So that's why I just trying to complete first this login method so that you can easily understand, right? So yeah, so now once it's done, now what I need to do, I have to just call notification state change, so that once I logged in, so that notification state will change and call it to that get authentication service. Now see, this authentication service will call using that notification sensor. Again they will check, okay, that after logged in, this is that authenticated user or not, this have a proper email, claims and all, or whatever the requirement, that is a meet or not. If it is not meet, so that means it is unauthenticated. If it is meet, so that means it is authenticated. So that's why I just call into that guy, and once it's done, now simply returning back. So it is success, because this is a return type, right, over there, this login method, and it is written as a success. If it is fail or something as a issue, so what I can do in this end, after catch. So yeah, also I missed something. So over here I have to just using as a try catch, right? In this try catch, I have to just keep it all that logic, so that if any exception and all, right, so we can easily catch it over here, and we can tell, okay, this is that this is that this is that error and all, right? So simply I can use it that like that. So what I can do in here, I have to return that, okay, yeah, so this is false, because if something has an error, if it is success, so that definitely it will return from here. If it is not, definitely it will come to exception and all, or simply it is false, and whatever that information you can get it from that exception, you can keep it over here, but otherwise you can just as an generic message we can tell to user, right? So that's why we have to do. Okay, so now see, login method is completely done. So once you login done, now go back to your get authentication state provider. Now we have to just start the implementation of that, which we have to pending. So first what I can do, whatever I just keep it local storage, right? So that I have to just get it from there, right? So like that, again we have to use that local storage, right, which is I just injected, and we have to get item and whatever the type, like, right, which we have to returning. So this is that key, right, which is coming from that in a local storage, but we have to just deserialize as per that our type, right? So what I can do, what I have to do, I have to just create this credential so that whatever that user information we have to keep it, that we have to map it over here, and further I can use it over here. So I just simply have to create this credentials model. So right click on that model, go to that new class and create it two new model of that credentials. And in this credentials, what are the properties we required? It's simply we have to record few properties. For example, this, like that have a id id token, refresh token, one is created, one is expire, and what is that provider type. So those information we have to get it from that, in this credentials, from the local storage, which will get it over here. And once it get it, now further I have to just call http client. So once I get the token, right, so then definitely I have to call one of that service where I can get that all that user information, because that based on the user token I can get that user information. Okay, what is that user complete information, like it is have a, what are the claims and what is the information and all. So for that actually we have to do, we have to inject one http client, because I have a one REST API which is provide that a Firebase Auth. So using that Firebase Auth REST API, I have to call that REST API, and I can get that information of that user information based on that token, right? So for that, again, what I can do, I have to just inject it, that http client over here. So let me quickly just using http client over here and create a new private property and assign to over here, and then go down over here. Now I have to call that http client over here. So await, let me create await http client dot post. There is a post API method over here, and in this post API method actually we have to get that URI. So where is my URI? So I already, if you, okay, so now if you go to my over here, see, this is one of the session, Firebase REST API. So if you don't aware that, okay, how we can use that Firebase REST API, so you can go to my this session, you will get that idea, okay, how we can use that complete user management Firebase Auth REST API. So I already covered, I'm not going to do that, but yeah, I'll just show you, open that Postman, how we can use it, that guys. So let me quickly open that Postman, and yeah, my Postman got opened over here. So this is my Postman, and over here, see, this is my post request, right? And in this post request, this is my URI along with this key, like this is key. I already explained how we can get that key, but I'm not going to again. So this key required, and this is that URI. So combine of this URI, we require this complete URI. So copy this URI and go back to your over here and pass it over here. So there's a two way actually. So ideally this is not a right way, directly we can pass it over here, but yeah, you can just storing this information from your configuration file, and you can get it from here. But yeah, as of now demonstration perspective, I'll just showing over here as a directly. And what is that another parameter we have to record over here in this post? This is content, like what is the request body. So if you go again back in this request body, now see, request body we have to pass that ID token using with this token ID, right? So that token we have get it from that in our local storage, and this is we have to refresh over there. So for that, what I can do, simply I have to just create a new string content over there. So let me quickly create a new string content, and let me new line over here so that you can able to see. Okay, so now see, I just simply create a string content, and I using that string JSON string. I prepare a JSON string ID token, and whatever where I can get the ID token, I am getting from that ID token from here, from that local storage, and adding over here, and just I'm using that encoding UTF is a application JSON type, right? And this body simply I have to just pass it to over here. That's it. So this is that complete HTTP client request, right? And once I get it, definitely I will get that response. So let me quickly store as a response over here. So this is my response I'm just getting over here. So let me bring back to new line so that you can easily see, right? So now see, I just getting that response from that user response, and once I get that user response, I can check it over here. Okay, if it is succeed, right, user response is ensure the success code, so that is fine. If it is not, so definitely it will return somewhere else. You can just put it some logic over here as well, so that's fine. But once you get, what I can do, I have to just read that whatever that in return, whatever that response actually we are getting from this API, right? So that we have to just getting from like that. Okay, that user response contain read all that string from here, so I'm getting that user JSON over here, right? And once I get that response, I have to just deserialize that to our uh, information, right? Whatever that user information, so that I have to just deserialize. So how we can do that? It is very simple. Again, just bring back to new line. So I'm just using that deserialize JSON text JSON, so deserialize, and here I just passing that where actually I want to deserialize whatever that user JSON we are getting from here, right? So that we have to deserialize over here, or we can store that over here. So let me quickly just create a method where I can just get all that informations, right? So let me create this as like in a model. So go to that model over here and right click on that, create a new class, and click that model user informations. And in this user information, I have to just create user details, because it is returning as an array of that user. So what I can do, I have to just create another user, and user has a local ID, email ID, display name, and this is main thing actually, custom attribute. So this is actually claims, or you can say that whatever roles we have to add it. So those roles actually we have to get it from here. So that's why we have to just prepare this method, right? Means this class, and we have to just call it to in this user method over here, so that because it is returning as a user array, right? So that's why I just prepare as a user array. Now go back to over here. Now we are good to go to get that all that deserialize that, whatever the user JSON we can deserialize, and we can get it over here. And also we can just prepare our JSON serialization options that we can do as a additionally. So let me and the go to top, and here I can just setting, or I just create a just deserialization method over here, like whatever that deserialize, it should be a camel case only, right? So that's we have to just prepare as some options, setting options over here, and save it and go down. Now we are good to go to clear that all the errors, right? Now what I need to do, now we have to now we get that all that user information over here, right? So first we have to check it. Okay, if user information it is not equal to null, right? So if it is not equal to null, then we have to set some claims over here. So let me quickly add whatever that claims over here we required, so that we have to create it over here. Now see, I just simply create a new claims, and these two claims I've just added over here. Like first is a name claims, that is email, and another is a email, so that is also emails. But yeah, whatever we require as per requirement, we can just adding our claims over here, right? So that's we have to add it a claims. And once you're done, so now this is a normal claims, like this is authentication. Now authorization part is pending now, because whatever that's if you go back to in this user, right? So in this user, I have to this custom attribute, right? So which have our roles. So that roles we have to get it, and we have to add that roles claim as well. So that roles claim, if I trying to get, so what I can do, Simply first I have to just inside this here, let me create one deserialize method over here, which will deserialize whatever that in our string, right? So this is my string custom attribute, it is returning in a string. So as of now definitely it's little confused because you don't know like how look like a data, but yeah, I'll show you once I just come implement. So I'll show you how our data is coming. So that's why we are using this guy. So we will returning as a string data over here, or I can show you from here. No, as of now we don't have other response, but I'll show you in later part. Yeah, so simply we are trying to deserialize with this dictionary, and this has a string and key as a string and value is a bool, right, which is a true false. So we are getting as a settings over here, right? And let me try to without any issue. Okay, now see, you're able to see. And then here if it's settings, right? So whatever settings, now we have to just some filter over here. So what is my filter? Filter would be like this, right? So see, this is settings, whatever setting we are getting as a dictionary, we put that condition. Okay, so whatever value it, if it is only true, right? Because might be there is a could be some property which have I is admin is true but is user is false, right? So only just true value we can filter over here, and then we have to just select whatever keys we have to select it, and also we have to map it. Why we have to map it? Because see, our data is coming from like that, is admin, is user, is moderate, or is administrators, something like. So that we have to map it. Okay, if it is admin, so we have to convert it to is admin to only admin, is user, so only convert it to is user. So like that actually we have to do that, which I already done in our some of the session, you can just check out. But yeah, for that what I can do, simply I have to just create another dictionary. So go to here on the top, and simply I just create a dictionary over here as a key map. Now see, is key map what I am trying to map is admin, is admin, is user, so user, is HR, so HR, is account to only account, right? So like that we have to map it over here. It's simply, and also let me bring back. So we have to map. Now it is returning that all the collections, and once I get the collections, I have to just adding that roles using that collection. So there is a two way, there's a many way actually, not two way. So you can just simply using that for each loop, or just simply using that link queue query, you can just get that whatever settings and iterate one by one and add in this roles. Now see, I'm just simply adding as a roles whatever how many roles in this particular user, I'm just trying to adding in this as a roles. So this is actually completely done for that, adding that authentication and authorization. And once it's done, what I can do, simply have to set claim identity. So this is how this is the way actually we can set it, the claim identity. So use that new claim identity, and whatever the claims we have to storing, right? So all that claims we have to storing, we have to pass it over here, and whatever the name actually this particular claim identity, so that we have to pass it over here. So this is that particular class name, we have to pass it over here. And once we add it, so whatever that user, right, so which we have to declare on the top, that user we have to just assign again that user, and using that new claim principle, whatever the new ID we have to add it over there. And simply in authenticated it should be true, right? So this is done actually, that implementation. And once it's done, now if it is throw exception, that is fine. If it is any exception and all, so definitely we have to throw like, okay, return state whatever that current state. So see, if it is completely fine, so it will return this state, right? And if it is having an issue, so definitely it will return only unauthenticated state, right? So that is way actually we have to just implement. So this is a very important part to learn to authentication and authorization in Blazor application or any .NET application, like I think this is for that all that .NET MVC and Blazor application. So this will work for every player. So yeah, that's way actually you can just do that. So once it's done, now that get authentication is done, login also is done. Now log out pending and register pending. right? So register one I will do in a later, but I'll just try to log in and just complete to log out as well. Okay, so let me start to log out as well. So let me log out. So how we can log out? It's very simple again. So whatever that uh you know storing is a local storage, that we have to remove again, right? So see, again we have using that await local service, remove that remove item is a method which is available in this local storage, and using that key so that I can remove that from here. And once it's done, what I can do, I have to whatever that Firebase auth client, right? So if you go to up and down, see Firebase auth client. So once you logged in, so definitely this logged in user, we have all that user information as well, so that we can check it. Okay, if it is only logged in user, so then we have to just prepare to log out from that Firebase auth client, right? So see that Firebase, it is not nullable, or then user has the not null, so then we have to trying to sign out method inside that Firebase client, right? Which is that we have to inject it over here, right? So that is way we can sign out. And then once you sign out, we simply call it to that a notification change state method and pass it to that get authentication method, right? So this is that way. So like this way it is done. Also this is also pending, get authentication method, this is also pending. So let me quickly get authentication complete, because it is nothing but it is just calling this method, like await and call this method, because we in this method only we can check it. Okay, it is authenticated or not. If it is authenticated, I can simply return whatever that authenticated, because we have to set is a globally, and this is setting over inside this method. So that's we can just simply, okay, it is authenticated or not, so we can check it over here. So yeah, so now all that method is completed as except this register. So let me quickly complete this one also, because I don't come back again to implementation all that method, right? So that's why I just have to complete this register method also. So for register method, what I need to do, first I just simply add one error message over here, like okay, so this is that generic error method, default error message, like prevent registration from that seeding, right? Whatever error message is generic one, you can just put it over here, and then try to try catch and remove this guy, and you can put your logic over here. And here again, as like login method, we have to use this guy, right? So we have to use this guy again and use that register method. So use this guy dot create, and yeah, create user with the email and password. So using that user and password, whatever that user email, so passing that user email, and then it is a password. So what is my password? Just password. And then the third one is a display name. So username is a display name. Make sure you just put that correct correct options, means correct parameter, you passing that all the way, because sometime actually I just miss it, like email is fine, but password and display name I just reverse back. So that's why I'm many times actually I just get that issue. So once I get done, what I can do, simply I can just use that async await method, and once I get it over here, I can store as a whatever that information we are trying to get it over here response, so that I can get it, because this is returning as a credentials. So this is user credential we are returning, and once I returning back, so I simply I can, based on this I can just, okay, so let me bring back this method as a new line, and so return. So if it is successful, it is successful created, so return true. If it is not, then simply again we have to just false over here along with the default result, or you can just get it whatever exception over here, you can just keep it over here. So now all that implementation done from here, like login done, login done, register done, so all these things is done, right? So now we are good to go to implement our component. So go back to over here, now go back to your component. So where is my component? So as of now, this is page, and in this page we don't have as a login component, right? So that login component, we have to just create a login and register component. So we have to just create it. So I already have we have a design, so I'm not going to design again. So what I can do, simply I have to just create a new folder, and in this folder let me create an account, and in this account first I have to just create a login method, a login component. So right click on that, create a reset component, and create a login component. So login.razor, right? This is that login component. First of all, I just adding over here as a login, right, as a route, page route. So based on the page route, I just adding as a route login, and here I just have to put some, I have to just call that service, right? Whatever service I just prepare. So what is my service? My service is this I account management, right? So that I have to just call it over here, as that over here. So let me call it this to service, because we two service we required, for example, as a navigation manager and account manager. So account manager, definitely we have to bring back that namespace. So this namespace I have to just keep it from that global place, so that I don't need to declare again and again. So every component, so I keep it over here, and then we are good to go to call our service over here. So let me create one method. So before creating a one method, I have to just record few property. So these three property we have to record. First is the spinner class, second one is an sign in model, and third one is an error list, right? So as of now we don't have a sign in model, so let me quickly create a sign in model as well. Right click, go to here and create a sign in model. And in the sign in model, whatever property we have to record, two property, and this two property is like that, okay, email and password, which we are trying to accept from that user. So now we are getting from there, and once you're done, now we have to prepare on one method that is called something, yeah, do login, right? So that do login, in this do login, what I need to do, simply first I have to just set a class. So this is my bootstrap class over here, and here just bootstrap class, or whatever class you have to prepare, that you can just keep it over here as well. So but yeah, I'm using that bootstrap class. And then what is done, now I have to use that await, and then using that act, because I just using the act, and then login method, right? So this is my login method, and in this login method, whatever that sign in model, so this sign in model has that username and password, so that we have to use it, like email and this the password. So these two things we have to pass it over here, and once you pass it, definitely we have to get that response. We have to spot over here response, and based on that response I can just keep it like, okay, if it is succeed, so now go to that base URL, right? Or if it is just fail, or just if you succeed, so you can just go to that particular page, like if it is start the quiz or something else, you can do that. But as of now I just keep it to main directory, and if it is failed, so definitely we have to remove this guy and show that error list, right? So this is login done, and once you login done, what I can do, I can show you actually that login part first. So this is login, but yeah, we have to keep it registered as well, and also we have to record logout. So let me quickly yeah, I think first we have to check it, okay, it is how is it is working, it is working or not. So let me show you first. So once you log in, now we can start our application, right? So before that I have to do something else also. So if you're using this custom authentication provider, we have to change something in our here in this route app.razor file as well. So what need to change over here? So let me just quickly comment this line, or just remove this guy, right? And then freshly we have to just change it. Actually we have to just change something minimal, right? So what I can do, simple just remove this guy and just coming these things, because just we have to just wrap it that custom this thing actually we have to wrap whatever that router app.reserve file as a router page. So we have to just cascading authentication state provider, we have to bring back this guy, and whatever that namespace we have to just keep it in our main place, right, is a global place. And once it's done, remove this guy, right? So see, just simply we have to just cascading, and this is same, there's a no change, right? And this is also not change, right? Only change over here, the previously we have here the route view, so instead of route view we have to change authorize route view. So only just authorize route view we have to go to over here. If it is not found, so definitely we have to return back to over here whatever message, or redirect to somewhere else, so that we can do over here. So this change you have to do that. So once you're done, so now we have to register something, like see, I have to use this, this client means this interface, these things, and also we have used that some Firebase Auth client also, right? So those are things we have to register. So go to that program.cs file, and here we have to register those things, right? So as like before, we have to register, see, we have to register Firebase client, similar we have to register Firebase Auth client, and as well as this, as authentication provider, and all these are things we have to register. Neither it will complaining, okay, it is dependencies issues, right? So first I have to just register this guy, like Firebase Auth client. So let me quickly builder, I already actually explained in our Blazor hybrid app, but yeah, again I'm just explaining over here. Services dot add singleton, and in this add singleton what I can do is like before we have done, so new Firebase Auth client, right? Firebase Auth client. So this is that Firebase Auth client. So in this Firebase Auth client, see, it is expecting Firebase Auth configuration. So new Firebase Auth config, Firebase Auth config. In this Firebase Auth config, we have to pass some configuration things over here. So what are the configurations? So first is configuration is API key. Where did you get? I'll show you a little bit later, but yeah, this is one things. Now second things is required over here at auth domain. This is also we have to record. And the third things we have to record the providers. So the providers, what is the provider we are trying to use? We have to provider we are using as a email providers, so that we have to use it, so that we have to decorate directly like this way, like email providers, right? So now where I can get this API key and all. So for this you have to go to that console Firebase logged in, console Firebase google.com. You have to go to that console Firebase google.com, go to here, go to that whatever that you're logged in user, so just logged in, and just create a, if you don't have a application, so just create a new, as I already explained, but I'm not doing to again. So just create it. Once you create it, click on that project, whatever your project. So go to that project and go to that range settings, click on the project settings, and this project settings you will get over here. See, this is that API key. So you can just simply call this API key from here, go back and did over here, and also just remove this guy, we don't require these things. And auth domain, where you can get that auth domain. For auth domain, so what you can do for auth domain, so you have to click that on authentication, right? So if you don't enable, so first you have to just enable these things, right? So see, as like I already explained from starting how we can using the authentication on Firebase. So you have to just enable this guy. Once you enable, so you have to get it over here, go to that setting part. In the setting part, go to that authorized domain, and this is that authorized domain. So you can just use this guy or this guy, whatever page you want, so you can use it. So I will use this guy, copy this guy, go back and paste it over here. That's it. So this settings is required for this using the Firebase auth client. So this is done. Now other things also required. I have to use that local Blazor local storage, right? So for that we have to just register as extension method, like add Blazor local storage. This is another things. And then I already also use that custom authentication provider, right? And also use that authentication state provider. So that also we have to just registered over here. How we can do that? It's very simple again. So simply I have to just use that add scope, builder dot add scope, and just showing over here. See, add scope, whatever authentication state provider. So see, this is the authentication state provider, and what is that implementation of that particular state provider? This is that our custom implementation, right? So that we have to just add it over here. So once it's done, this is also done. And now another things also we have to record. See, the last things. See, there's also dependent on this I account management system, right? So that is also implement of this custom authentication. So that also we have to register. So how we can do that? It's very simple. Again, we have to just create this add scope using this lambda expression, using that our interface. And what is that concrete class? So this is our authentication provider. Actually this is dependent on that class, so that we have to just register like that. So this is done. And then finally the last one, we have to just using the extension method of add authorization core, right? Because we have to use authorization mechanism over here, so that we have to use it. So that is done. Now save it and build it. Now see, build also succeed. That means there is no error and all, right? And yeah, one more thing actually I'm missing. So I just adding that new login screen, but it is also should come if it is unauthenticated, right? In unauthenticated, so it should be come in the login screen on the top, means login button, and it should be on the top, right? So that we can show like that. If you go to the logout button, go to that the main layout, we have to just change something over here for the main layout. So what I can do over here for this main layout, so I just adding something over here, for example this guy, right? So let me just comment it, because I don't require this guy. Simply I'm just using this div, right? Whatever div is previously, I just same div, but here I have to use this authorized view. If it is authorized view, so whatever name, authorization name, that will be appearing over here. Also logout button will be appearing over here, right? And if it is not authorized, so that time it will show as a login and registration button, right? These two things we have to show, and that's all for now. But yeah, in later we have to just decorate whatever things actually after logged in, whatever that what do you say, whatever icon or whatever that tab user able to show, so that we will to decorate over here. But as of now, just showing it is login is working or not. So let me run it. So now it is running perfectly, right? So see, there is a no authentication on this particular things, and also see everything is not authenticated, right? So that's why everything is looking visible for this user, right, without authentication. So what I can do, simply I'll show you once I click that login. Okay, so yeah, I missed something. See, it is fine. So once I click login, it is nothing appearing. Why? Close this guy, go back, because I implement all the functionality. See, functionality implement done, but there is no design, so that's why it is just blank. So what I can do, simply I have to just prepare that design. So let me quickly get that design. I have to just prepare a login screen over here. So like that. Okay, so it's a edit form, and whatever that sign in model, I just using prepare or sign in model, I have to use it. And whatever that on validate method, I have to just click over here, and this is nothing, just whatever email, whatever that password, and what is, if it is don't have account, so you can just create it will go to that register button, register form as well. And this is that final submit button, right? And this is done. And one more thing actually we have to show, if it is any error and all, so that also appearing on the top like that. So that is done. Now let me run it and see in action. Now click on that login. Now see, I'm able to see this login screen, right? And just try to log in with this admin user first, admin gmail.com and kkp and whatever my password, and sign in. So once you sign in, now see, once I sign in, I'm able to see if I sign in, so my username over there and also logout button over there. That means sign in perfectly working fine. Now we are good to go. And also I'll show you that F12. Click on the F12 and go to that application and go to that local storage. Click on that. Now see, this is that way. Actually, this is that things actually I want to show you. So as the login, so you are able to now see whatever that local storage we are storing the token. This is that actually token which we have to use to get that information and all. And this is that provider, and this is the refresh token, and this is created and when it is got expire. So this information we have to store this local storage so that I can use it, right? So that's why I just created this that credential information, and we can get it over here, right? So this is good. Now what I will do, now I have to restrict, so whatever tab, like only just admin user so can able to see that admin tab, or if that user only just simple user logged in, so simple logged in user only can see that quiz options, right? So like that actually we have to check it, we have to restrict for over here, and also we have to implement logout button. So first I have to just restrict for that over here, so that only logged in user can able to see this, means only just particular user able to see this, logged in user can able to see this tab or these options, right? So for that what I can do, simply close that and go to that nav menu, and in this nav menu I have to just restrict over here in this nav menu with this decorate, or also the decoration over here. So how we can decorate, suppose for example I want to, okay, so this is that complete, everybody can see that main home screen, that is fine, but quiz only can able to see that authorized view, right? So let me decorate over here this nav menu, right? So this is that nav menu, decorate over here, and that close this guy. So this is done, save it. So this nav menu only decorate with this guy, right? So this is one things. And then another things we have to do over here, suppose this questions, right? This question also we have to decorate, because only logged in user can able to see, right? So this is logged in user, and this is that end part, so we have to decorate also. So now see, now it's good, right? Only logged in user can able to see these two options, and without logged in user only can able to see this normal. It is a demonstration perspective, right? For demo quiz context, so that also only can they able to see. So like that we have to done. And one more thing actually we have to do, that that logout button. So that for that logout, what I can do, I can just have to prepare one logout functionality over here, right? So how we can just create that logout, we can just create a button over here. That logout also should be appear after logged in user, so that we can do that. So simply I just create another div over here, that is forcefully actually logout. And as of now we don't have a logout implementation, but will we implement and later. So save it, now run it and see in action. So already we have the logged in, because see why it is appearing, because in local storage we have that this option. So that's why we have storing this user, right? User information. So that's why it's already logged in, right? So what I can do, simply see, if I try to delete and if I just try to refresh, so it will gone, and you are not able to log in. It is not logged in, right? And it is showing it try to log in. And once you, and also see, this is way actually I want to show. So if it is not logged in, you are not able to see any options. So logged in, and just try to log in, admin@gmail.com, and what is my password? This is my password, and sign in. Once you sign in, it should be okay. So this is wrong, I guess. So let me pass it to right password, sign in. Once you sign in, now quickly able to see those options, right? And still there's some issue actually over here. So now it's fine, with any user can log in, but they can, okay, so logged out is not there, that is fine. But yeah, still see, it's normal user also, it is a normal user login, but they are able to see all that pages. So that also we have to prevent, like only that particular user, suppose this admin user, so admin user has that particular role, so only they can use this section, or if does not have, so they don't have that section, right? So for example, let me just logged in. Okay, so let me just remove again, delete from here. Don't worry about that, as of now I'm removing from here, but yeah, I'll just implement the logout button as well. So now see, there's a no login button, so login, and login with that normal user. So user@gmail.com. This is a simple user role. So if it is user role, sign in. So once you user role sign in, so also they are able to see over there, right? So that is not right actually, so that we have to prevent. So how we can prevent? So let me close it and go to that particular component. For example, this is quiz component, right? So in this quiz component, what are the roles actually we have to prevent over here? So for this quiz, I have to show, like for example, I have to show this user. So let me just bring back the namespace, and this, let me keep it to our normal over here, save it, go back. Now see, like that actually you can specify multiple roles as well. Like, so this particular quiz I just specify, okay, user can access, admin can access, and moderate can access, or others also can access, right? So that we have to set it. Similar, I can access, for example, let's quiz is fine, the quick question list, right? This question list only can access, admin can access, right? So that what I can do, simply we have to decorate from here only admin. So remove this guy and also remove this guy and save it. So now these two components we have covered, and also question list and manage questions, right? So that manage questions also decorate with this admin, because only admin user can manage things, right? So let me just save it over here. So now only admin user can see this two component, means this two component, right? And apart from that, only user can see this component, and if also user does not have an role, so they don't have any other component. So like that actually we have to prevent, right? So now we have done, right? And what I can do, I can simply run this application. So before run, I'll just let me implement that logout one also, because that logout again and again I'm just try to logged out from that that F12 and then remove from that local storage, right? So this is not good. So what I can do, simply quickly create a logout button so that I can show you. So log out, so this is logout, and in this logout what I can do, I just simply edit this route as a logout, and again I have to just inject it this service. So this is that service, and in this service what I can do, just we have to set it some design over here, like if authorized view only, we can show that authorize, okay, it is a logout or it is a you are logged in, right? So something like that we have to decorate over here. And then what is done, we have to just implement something in this code part. So we have to just set it that auth views, and on initialize method, let me just quickly create on initialize method, override on initializing method. We have to just call, if it is authenticated, now see, this time we have to call that is authenticated method, right? So for example, await acc dot check authentication. See, this method we have to prepare, right? So that's why we have to just prepare this method. If it is authenticated, so let me quickly wrap it over here. If it is authenticated, then user can log out, right? So that we can call as a logout button, means logout method over here, so that we can log out easily over here. And once it's done, that is done, right? So this is also done, logout also completed. So let me try to run and see in action. Now see, this is already we have a local storage, that's why it's completely login, right? And let me try to log out. Now see, once I log out, it is log out, everything is gone, and also again login. So this time I will log in with this admin, not admin, I will just log in with this user. So this is that normal user, and what is my password? This is my password. Sign in. So this is wrong password, so let me quickly write password, sign in. So once you sign in, now see, I'm sign in, that is fine. But if I just click start quiz, I'm able to see start quiz, everything is working fine, there's a no issue, perfectly is working fine from the DB and all, everything is working fine. But once I click this, quiz list, right, question list, click on that, now you are able to see you are not authorized, because this component only can able to access admin user, right? That user does not have a role, that particular component, so that's why it is not able to access. So what I will do, simply I just logged out. Once I logged out, logged in, and logged in with the admin user @admin gmail.com, and this is that my password, login. So once you log in, now I am able to see that quiz, because this quiz also has an admin role. And this, once I click the question list, now see, this time question list also able to see this user, because this user has an admin role, and user can thus add a new questions, and also user can edit questions, and user can also delete questions as well. So whatever things actually that user have this particular, they can do that, right? So that is fine. Now last thing is pending, that register. So that I can add a new so I can, as of now, see, once I click the register, there's a no register button, right? Means register form. So user also able to register if it is not logged in user, or it is does not have a user, so user can register. And once you register, I will show you how we can add that roles and all, right? So let me close that, and the last part is pending is registered things. So let me quickly create a register component. So where is that? Yeah, so here let me right click on that component, create a new component, and I will just call, this is a register component. So this is that register component, and in this register component I just make it as a, on the top, as a route. So right, route navigation component as a registration, right? And similar, I have to just inject it again, these two services which we have to register and navigate here and there. And one more things we have to do, that over here we have to implement over here. So again, it's simple. We have to just record in a few property. For example, we have to record the register model, error list, is sniper class, and this is that, this is that not required, but yeah, we can keep it like for show that images and all, for look and feel better. So what I can do, I have to just create this sign up model as well. So go to that model, right click on that, click create a new class, create a new model, that is called a sign up model. And in the sign up model, whatever property we have to record, we have to just prepare over here. So these are property we have to record it over here, username, password, and email. Go back and you can get it over here. And then finally we have to just create a method which will just create a submit method over here. And in this submit method, or you can just create a register method, or whatever, just as per convenience you can just use it. So we can use it. And then we have to just starting, we have to set that spinner, right? And spinner class. And then once it's done, I have to just call await that act registered. So yeah, this is the registered, and here whatever the register model, we have to pass it as over here, register model dot first property is a email and second property is a username, so that username, and then third property is that password, right? Whatever new password we are trying to create it, so that is done. And then we have to store it as a result, so let me just create it as a result. And once it's done, again simply we have to just set it. Okay, if it is succeed, so it's go to the login page. If it is failed, so it is keep it over here and rest of things. Okay, this is simple logic. And again we don't miss that design part. So here what I can do, I can just create a edit form, and in this edit form be nothing over here, just simply those property like username, email and password, and this is that login button, and then this is that register click button, right? And save it, and we are good to go to run this application, and also we can able to register. So let me see, run it this application. Now this time, see, once I click the register, now see I'm able to register that new user, because I don't, if don't have a new user, so user can also register over here. So for example test user, right? So test user is a first name as a test user, test user @gmail.com, right? And let me set some password. So what is my password? So this is my password, and register. So once you registered, if it is registered, so it is redirect to login page. And once you registered, so it will re-register. And let me test user @gmail.com, and this is my password, and sign in. So once you sign in, now see I have signed in, but it is not getting that informations. Why? So let me quickly see. So see, it is there, I'm getting that information, right? So it is not logged in. Why? Something is issue. So let me quickly check what is the issue. So let me put the debugger point on that login button. So where is my login button? Go to that here, click that login button over here, right? So it is logged in. Once you logged in, definitely it should come over here. So here is come, yeah, here it should come, get authenticated. So it should come over here. So why it's failing? So that we have to trying to get it over here, put that catch, and similar we have to catch over here and put it over here, right? And go back and just logged in, and test user @gmail.com, and my password, sign in, go to over here. So here let me check what is the issue. F10. Okay, now it is sign in. So it is sign in successfully, that's why we are getting over here. That is fine. This is also fine. We are restoring these things and go back to over here. That is also fine. Now once I succeed, logged in, this is fine. Go back to here, and here what is we are getting over here, we get the token and all, that is fine. And also it is succeed. And what is that response we are getting in this response? Let me check. Okay, this 200 also is fine. That is completely fine. And this is just storing the data. This is also fine. Yeah, we got that exception. That means something has an issue. So what is that issue? Okay, so issue is a value cannot be null. Okay, so that is a problem over here. See, so it is claim is fine, but once I try to add that user role claims, so as of now role claims is empty, right? Because does not have as a roles, right? So that's why it is throwing exception. But yeah, that we have to handle over here, so that it should not be throw the exception, right? So let me continue and go back to your application. Here we have to check like if it is not null, right? So how we can check it? We can check it from like that. So let me check if it is not null, also not null. So now I think it should fine. If it is not null, so definitely it should not be throw an error, right? And there is another also way we can use it, like we can put some condition like if condition, this custom attribute should not be null actually, so that we can do that. But yeah, later we do that, but let me check it is working fine or not. So let me debug again, or let me just stop that application and run it again. Might be hot reload is not working properly, so it is best way to close that application and run it. Okay, so run, continue, and now again, yeah, so again same issue. So that means it is not fixes over here. So what I can do, so yeah, let me put a debugger point over here and check it what here exactly issue actually. So let me refresh. So if it is refresh, so here go to there, yeah, so till now it is fine. But what is this information? This information, user has a this guy is a custom. See, custom is null, so that is a problem. So that we have to avoid, because if it is null, we trying to deserialize, definitely it will throw an error, right? So what I can do in this case, we can simply check one condition. So let me put this condition over here. If it is not null, right, then not null only can do these things, right? So yeah, this role things. Now we'll try to run this. This time it should not be throw an error. So now try to log in. So now see, this time it is logged in with the test user. It is perfectly working fine, because this is keeping in our avoid. But this logged in user actually, this new user you have just created, right? But this new user does not have any role over there. Where you can check it, this you can check it from that postman, and as well as there, over here as well is over there as well. So how we can check it? Simply you have to get that token. So let me take it this token from here and copy this token, go back to your postman, and you can just replace this token, old token over here, and just replace this token, right? And just hit that enter, and see here you are able to see there's a no that attribute, right? This token custom token attribute, there's a no token custom attribute that should be appearing in this here and the last, right? So what I can do for that, so if it is not there, so what you have to do, once you click anywhere, you have to not authorize, because this user does not have any roles, right? So that's why it is only logged in, that is fine, but they are not able to do anything. Only you can see that demo prospective things, like demo demo user, right? So that you can just use it, but other things he can't do that. So how we can allow that user? So that also you can just create another things over here, but I will not recommend that part, because that is could be some risky. So allow that user roles in this web assembly application, because we have to expose some client informations, right? That server information, so that is not good things. So for that, what you can do, you can just keep it your authentication, or allow that role based authentication. You can just have a keep it another application which is in your place. So I'll show you where is actually I already, if you not aware that, so go to that my application .NET real world example here. Let me show you. We are actually, I just completed that part. So yeah, see, this is actually I just completed how we can use it, that Firebase authentication in .NET MAUI Blazor hybrid app. Here user can log in, register and sign out, and once you log in, sign out, user also can assign this role. Now see this part, see, this is that one. So after that you can assign that your user role using that Firebase Blazor hybrid applications in the Blazor. So that you can also you can use it. So same application I am running, and this is that application. So where is my application is running? So yeah, see, this is same application running, which is I am showing over here. So this one I'm running over here, and if you click that user list, so whatever new user I just created, right? So see, this new user I just created, but this new user does not have any roles, but other user has a roles, right? See, the admin user has a admin and user roles, that user role only has a user roles, and this test user does not have any roles. That's why a user does not have any allow that particular section. So what I can do, I can easily allow that user, like for example, first time I allow that user information, means user role, and update it. So once you update it, now see, you are able to see this test user has a user role, and once we have a test user role, so what I will do, log out this guy, log out from there. Okay, so already it's debugging point, so that's why it's creating problem. So remove that debugging point over here, continue, and now see, it is log out. Now try to log in with test user @gmail.com, and what is my password? This is my password, and logged in. Now this user should able to see that quiz things, because now this user has a allow that user role of that particular user. So that's why they are able to attempt that quiz component, and easily they can attempt that quiz, right? But he's not able to attempt this admin panel, because this is admin section, is not able to see that. So that also I will show you once I allow that user. For example, this user, only that user information, right? User role. So let me add the two roles, like user and admin, update it. So now this test user has a both user information, right? Means role, like admin and user role. So now log out this guy and log in again, test user @gmail.com, and let me logged in. Now this user has all that all that component allow that access. So first let me show you. Yeah, it is perfectly working fine. And once you click the question list, now you can allow that new questions, like this is a test questions, for example, this, add new questions, add new options, and also, okay, there's duplicate, so let me just unique things, and yeah, this is just unique things, and options one is right options, add questions. So once you add questions, you're able to see this is new questions we have to just create it, and also once you add it, you're able to see all that options over here, right? So like that you can easily based on that user role permission, user can easily access all that component. So this is that complete session where we can do that authentication, authorization with using that Firebase Auth, right? And the next session we will deploy this application in our Google Fire Store, right? So that is also free. If you don't know how we can deploy and all, so you can go to my Firebase, or just Firebase, yeah, just Firebase, go check out that Firebase, where you can get it, that how we can deploy that, see how we can hosting our application in Firebase Google Firebase. That is also completely free for that initial level, so you can just check out that session. But yeah, in upcoming session we will deploy this complete authentication, authorization with Firebase DB, will deploy on here. And one more things we have to do, that that we have to do. So now see, as of now, whatever logged in user, so any logged in user can able to see all that questions, right? So that is also should not be happen, because whatever that whatever that see this real-time DB, right? So that also we have to restrict over here. As of now, anybody can see, anybody can access those data. Like if it is logged in user and not logged in user, anybody can logged in and authenticate, or anybody can use this data. But that also we have to restrict using that rules. Like see, as of now the rules we have to set is true, means everybody can do that. But yeah, in upcoming session also we have to set that restriction of the rules, like only that logged in user, whatever that logged in user, that can only access that read and write access, and something like that actually we have to do in upcoming session. How we can set it the rules? So first to go to that rule section, whatever your real-time database, go to that, and there's another tab over here, and there is a rule section, and here we have to set that rules. Okay, so before set the rules, you have to just show whatever that collection we have, right? So now see, we have 3 collection at the result, question and answer. So question answer is just a quiz related things, like suppose there is a many questions and that corresponding answer as well, right? So this is a question answer. So these two things we have only read availability to for all that authentication user, that we have to set it, and only admin can actually write that new questions, right, and new answer. So that we have to set on this rules. But this is a different, like okay, result. So result things also, see, if I just expand it, so result only just particular user, like whatever that current user, right? For I just logged in with the this user, right? So this user we have set, okay, this is that child child collection, that particular user ID has a child collection, and we have that question answer. Okay, whatever is code we are getting, we are storing over that over here based on this ID, this informations, right? So that we have to differently set these rules. But yeah, this is that only admin can access. So let me add in the practical so that you can understand. So first, it's a very simple. If only authentication user can access, so what I need to do, it's a read, right? In this read, there's an option actually auth. Now see, once you that press AU, you will get that options, and there are many other options as well, right? So there I will use only just auth over here, and what I will set over here, auth is not equal to null. That means whatever logged in user, you will pass that authentication things, so they will check, okay, that whatever auth, it should be not null, then this you are able to read, these things, right? So this is straightforward, there's no things. Okay, so this is one things we can set that rules like this way. And also if you restrict, okay, only admin user can get that or that particular user, right? So suppose user role, right? So if you have a user role, that you can set also over here, for example, and you can set that and as well, like auth, and this auth dot token, and this token has a multiple property, right? So how we can get that token, how we can get, okay, so how many token or whatever the things we have available. So what you can do, as of now, if I not close my applications, yeah, I'm not closing my application. So what you can do, just actually F12, and you will get that. See, I'll just store this my token over here, that is actually authenticated, right? So let me copy this token, and copy from here, and just open as a JWT site, JWT IO site. Actually it is a decoded here token, so this is the site. So here what I will do is encoded over here, and it will be decoded. So let me just replace, or just over here. So see, once you replace your token, you will get this decoded option. So this is a algorithm over here on that token, and this is that information of that particular token, what we have that in this token. So there's a many things we have, like see, each user is a true, right? Means user role we have in this user, there is no admin user. If he has an admin user, so that admin would be true. Like this way actually this token we have. So that already I covered, like how we can add this is user, is admin thing part. So you can go through my previous previous session, we will get the information. So those are property, right? So whatever that property we have, no, that we can use it over here. So go back to again. So over here, like, see those token we can use it. So as of now we have to specify this guy. So just copy this guy, right, and go back to here and specify over here, and then you can set it. Okay, if user token has that is user, and that is user, you know, should be true, right? So if it is true, then only that user which have that is user true, that only they can read that options, right? So like this way actually you can do that, but as of now I don't require this guy, so I will leave it that one. But just for understanding purpose, I'm just explaining. So what I need to do for write, now see, read is done, only just authentication if it is not null, so I can show you. And then the write part, because read everybody can read, there's no issue, but if it is the sensitive data, so that time actually you can just specify the rules, because that sensitive data should be not visible for everyone, right? So that's why I'll show you. And then write, what I can do, again we have to check first. Okay, not equal to null means that only authentication user can able to see. And then add, again we have to stick over here, like only add, write, write, update or delete means write actually cover all the things. But yeah, so if only as is, okay, so let me also just make sure whatever this property name, it should be same, it should not be any case sensitive and all. So that also equal to true. So this time write options also you can specify whatever that user, but yeah, as of now I will just adding not user, I will just use that admin role only. So this is that, right? So only admin role can write only these questions, right? That questions. Okay, so one thing I miss it. Okay, so see, this is that complete rules. If you said this is a rules, so this will work for all that collection, whatever your real-time database has a collections, like there's a 3 collection, right? So these rules will work for all that collections. But that is a good practice if you just specify that particular collection. So for example, first I will set it that my collection is questions, like there's a one questions over here. So I will just decorate for as a questions, and this guy, let me wrap it from here. Now see, now questions we have set these 2 rules, right? Similar we have to set another things as well, right? So it's like this way we can set it. So but now as of now we are good over here. So question select collections we have to set, okay, read options and write options. And not only this you can just many rules apply also, like you can just set or as well, like okay, so if it is and this guy and then or some other rules as well, so you can set it over here. So but that is fine as of now, and keep it that guy. And then I will just create it another collection, that is a answer collection, right? So what I can do, so this is that questions, right? And after that questions we just put the comma, and then we have to add that answer. So let me just add answer collections, and this answer collection again we have to wrap over here, and inside again we have to set these rules, like okay, so answer also is a read, right? So this is a read, and same things we have to apply for that write as well. So let me add the write also, admin user only can that write, right? So like this way this is also done. And then another corrections we have, that is a result, right? So let me just prepare that result as well. Then we have to implement in our Blazor assembly code as well. So let me just set first rules. Okay, now result also we can just add it. We have to just differently achieve this over here, because it have actually, okay, so let me show you that collection. I already show you, but let me show you the code, right? So if you go to that quiz, right? So in this quiz, if you scroll down, you're able to see that result section. So where is my result? So see, this result section we have the child, right? So in this child we have every result has a child, whatever the child, it is just a user ID, right? So whatever that user is, as of now we don't have as a user ID, that we have to change it, right? So we will change it as a user ID. so don't worry about that. But yeah, we have that user ID, and whatever actually we are trying to save it, so I will save it only my user ID, right? So that's why what I will do over here, we have to just use a dollar sign, and see there's a two things like user ID and UUID. So I will that user ID and user ID as per you, but yeah, you can use both. And this is one. Okay, inside this result we have that child node, and whatever the child node, that should be a match over here. So that we have to do. So what I can do, first check, I have to do that readability. So read only not authentication data, not authentication things only can read. But there's another rules we have to set over here, not authentication user, as well as whatever that auth dot UUID. So this is that UID coming from here. So auth UUID, whatever UID, no, this is auth ID actually coming from this auth ID, right? So if you go back again over here, now see, you will see the user ID over here, like whatever user ID, right? So that you can manage over here. And auth ID means whatever that current auth ID, right? This is a token, and it have as a auth ID, like, so that auth ID means that the UUID, for example this guy, right? So this guy, if it is match, so that time if you will get that data, right? So that's why we have to just checking, okay, whatever current auth, like whatever logged in user, right, which we are sending the token, so that token ID should be matched with this UUID, right? So let me just set it over here. That's it, right? So similar, we have to do the write as well, because read and write only that user, whatever that user is not authentication null, and authentication ID should be the whatever ID we are passing, that a child node, right? So like this way we have to set now. So yeah, see, I'm getting that error, right? So what is that error? Already it is saying line number 13 unexpected of the expression, right? So it is saying that line number 13 has an issue. Let me see what is that issue in line number 13. So see, I just specified the double quote, but I'm not closing the double quote. So this is one issue. And once I publish, now see, again it's saying line number 14 has a again issue. The read rules, right, cannot have the multiples, right? So yeah, see, that is the right things, good things. So read should not be a multiple, it should be a write, right? So let me just change it to write and just publish. So this is a good part actually, that's why I'm not closing. And also see, again another issue, line number 18, EOF has an issue, means end of the day of the issue, means it is not properly closed. So see, that issue is over here, like see, it is starting that double quote but not closing over here. So let me closing over here and publish it. So now this is published. Now see, again we are getting at a variable is true, line number is a issue. So line, where is the line number E? So here see, I just put it as a true, right? So, but true spelling is wrong, so that's why it is complaining. So once I add a true and just publish, now see, now this time is a true with this double code. And here line number 9, so this line number 9 also is a, now see, this one is fixed, but here is the problem. So again line number 9, now see, once you see, this is a nice thing actually, also got that validation. So if you just trying to adding some rules, if you get that any issues and all, it will prompt and it will say okay, just try to fix it. And once it's published, now see, published successfully, and now our rules got added. And also there's options, you can just test it. Okay, now it is working or not. So for example, it is working or not. Now see, this time authentication is false, and I'm trying to get this questions, right? So let me add that questions and run it. So once you run it, now see, it is saying exact the place where actually it is failing. So now see, it is failing. Okay, authentication is not equal to null, that means here is failing. Also you will get that complete information over here as well, where actually you are getting the data issue. So if you authenticate it and try to run, now you are getting that result, right? Similar, you can just check it all that place, it is actually testing perspective, it is from provide over here. So now see, this is fine for adding the rules. So this is actually we have to learn it, like how we can add that rules and how many rules are we have set it over here. So based on this your data security, you can set it over here. So once you're done, now go back to your application, and here first of all go to that quiz list, right? So here that quiz list, now see where is our call. So now see our calling over here, and this is just returning getting the data, right? So if it is this time, actually I'm not passing any auth token. So now what I will do, this Firebase client, actually we have to passing that auth token. So based on that auth token, so let me stop that, and once I add the rules, and now I will show you, like if it is simply we are not passing the token, what will happen, right? So let me run it. And also if it is admin user, but see this is that okay, so this is normal user, right? So if it is start that quiz, now see that option is not available, means it is not getting there. So if you F12 and go to that network tab, and just okay, this is a start quiz, click on that here. Now see I'm getting that 401 on that particular over here, right? See this is that particular call, this is a REST API call internally actually calling, and this calling whatever that question collections, we are getting 401. Why? Because we are not passing any auth token in this inside this header. So where you can see you will see the header or as a URL, actually you can get it, because we have to passing as a auth token, as a auth token in this the user ID over here, right? So what I will do, simply log out, close it, and now we have to add actually that auth token, right? So let me add that auth token. So for that auth token there's a many way actually. So what you can do, just you can just create a separate class, right? Separate class, and you can just assign to the returning back to Firebase client and assign to that Firebase client over here, right? This is a one way. And the another way is actually we are using over here directly, we can just create a Firebase client over here. For example, this is a Firebase client, and in this Firebase client we will just create a Firebase client, and here we will just pass our URL, what is our database URL. So go back to over here, go back to database, right? So this is my URL, copy this URL, go back to over here, pass it to this URL. So this is one thing, Firebase client, right? Now next things what we have to do, that we have to just use another parameter. There's a two parameter. Now see there's a Firebase option. So let me use that Firebase options, and in this Firebase option I have to just configured over here as a token. So what is that property for that? I have to use that auth token as a async method, and in this async method we have to just create async method where I can get the token. So where I can get the token, I can get the token from so I can get the token for that Firebase auth. So which is, you can see in the program.cs file, I already just use this Firebase auth client, right? So whatever token we have as of now, we can get it from here. And also we have that token actually the another things, actually we are get the token inside the local storage, because we have just storing actually I'll show you that so that you can understand. If you go to over here custom authentication provider, so you can see I just storing the token inside this local storage. So like this way actually also we are getting, right? So there is a many way you can do that. So I think this is the best way. So because we are storing from here, so I can get it from here as well. So what I will do now, go back to our that component, and here what I will do, you can just create a common class where you can get the token, right? And or you can just use it over here as well. So what I will do, I will just use over here directly. For example, I just create private functions over here to return a get token, and here I will just call that local storage token. So this is my local storage token, and just we have to inject it in a local storage service over here. So what I will do, I have to just inject it the local storage, which I already explaining in last time, means last session. So let me inject it that, so like this way. And also we have to bring back that local storage namespace and go to send it to our that global place, so that I don't need to record again and again. And now we are good. Now see, local storage, we are getting that result, and in this result we have to return back to our token, right? So how we can just simply return return result, right? Result, yeah, this is that result, and in this result dot id token, right? So this is that id token. Simply we just create a function and returning that whatever the token, we have to returning back to that token. And this function we have to use over here. Where is my token? Yeah, here we have to just use a lambda expression and just pass it to the token, and that's it. Now see, whatever token we have to just assign to is in our auth token async factory. That's it, and close it. Like this way we have to just passing our token inside this Firebase auth client, Firebase client. And once you assigning over here, so rest of the call will be same, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, okay, this is just I'm using over here directly, but yeah, we can create a clean approach. Like we can use another as a common class, and we can just define our Firebase client, and that we can inject it over here directly, and we can use it instead of again and again declaration over here, right? So same things we will do for all over the place. We are calling that Firebase client over in this class. So here, yeah, we much place over here, only just one place, right? So that we have added over here. And then what I have to do, that I have to do one more things over here, right? So as of now we are good, right? Yeah, so because this is a read options, right? So if it is read options, if that user has a read permissions, so user can visible. If it is not, so it should not be a visible, right? And one more thing actually I want to over here. So if it is error, right? So is there any error and all, so that we can just over here, means we can add it over here, right? So that we have to just mechanism over here. So for example, we have to store on one message over there. Like for example, we can just store the error message. Let me add a error message, and in this error message we have to just set, once I try to load the data. So where is my load data? Here my load data. By default it will be empty, but once I get any exception and all, we have to set that error inside whatever that message and all, right? So we have to set it over here like that, right? So once you get that message over here, we can show as well over here. For example, it's else part, right? So if it is else part, so before else part we can just show, okay, is loading this guy and count is this guy, and there is a else part, right? So one more parts actually I want to show you. Like if it is error, also we have as a error, so I can show instead of that that questions, I will show that some result over here, right? So that we have to edit. And there is a one that result options we have to just decorate over here, right? Means that result class, right? So where is my result class? So that we have to edit in this inside over here, or we can just edit for go to that component, or just globally also you can just edit. So let me add that globally. So where is my globally? Inside the cs file, go to that app.cs file, and you can just edit over here. That's it, right? Save it, go back, and now we are good to go and run this application and see in actions. Now if I using okay, so this is a read options, right? So everybody can read. So as per the rules, everybody can read. So let me logged in with this user @gmail.com and kkp, and what is my password. So once I sign in, definitely I will get that result over here. Now see, I'm getting the result, right? So now let me change some rules and see how is working on the rules, right? So now see, as of now, whatever actually logged in, I'm logged in the user, right? Means this token, right? This token as a is user role is available. So let me prevent over here. For example, go back to go back to here and set that rules only admin can access, right? So let me just copy this guy and here just paste it, right? Means read also questions read also will be have only admin can access, right? So let me publish, okay, and go back and just logged out that, okay, log out because whatever current logged in mechanism, it is not working. So that's why I just logged in again, user@gmail.com, and then set that this guy and sign in. So rest of things is fine, but once you go to that question list, now see I'm getting some error. What is that error? If you go back to here, go to that console, now see I'm getting that 401, right? And here actually that is fine 401, but it should not be throw the exception, so that we have to handle. So go back to again that question over here, and here actually I missed that. Okay, so see question list could be a nullable, right? So that we have to just set it over here and go back to here and stop that running this application, because this question list is a nullable, so that's why it's actually throw the exception. So click on that question list. Now once I click that question list, now see you are able to see this nice message. It is saying okay, you are not authorized because you are getting this 401. And now once I logged out and logged in with this current user, means admin user. So let me admin@gmail.com, right? gmail.com, and what is my password? This is my password, and sign in. Once I sign in, it is logged in. And once you go to that question list, now see, because admin has that permission, that's why I'm getting that result. But if does not have that permission, admin role does not have any other user, so this time that that things will be visible. So like that actually we can implement. So let me move it for other parts, like for example add and edit. Also we have to restrict, like okay, only admin user, or that only admin user can do that, right? So what I can do, simply close that, and for that go to that component. It is actually manage question component, right? So here again we have to say same things, right? So go to that, go to down over here, where is the call? Okay, so see this is that call, and in this call what I will do, same things again, just copy whatever we have done last time. So just copy, we have to just create a Firebase client. Okay, let me bring back this one so that you can see easily. Okay, and also this token we can get it from there. For example, yeah, for example here, copy this token method, copy, go back and just create a token over here. That's it. And also local storage part, which we have to declare over here. So there, yeah, that's why I'm suggesting just keep it another service which we can just manage all that local storage and that Firebase client and all, so that instead of again and again declaration, we can avoid that. Okay, so now see this is also fine. This load question by ID, only authentication user be passing that ID, so it will check okay, authentication user can get that question and answer. Along with there's another options that remove is fine. Okay, so final submission also, the final submission also we have to pass that token, right? So let me just copy this code and just paste it. This is for this understanding perspective, so that is fine, and save it, right? And that is fine. And once it's done, right, so similar things also we can just maintain, right? So for example, if it is any error, right, for while in this try catch, like we are getting any error, authentication error, we can set is that message over here, and we can just stick over this form, okay, you are not authorized and all, right? So we are not doing that, but yeah, you can just set it over here as like we have done for here, right? So we have just setting that error, we have set that error, and we have to show that message, okay, so that user friendly, okay, user not getting any options and all, right? So let me just do that so that you can just understand well. So what I will do, okay, so this is the manage questions over here, and inside that So let me just put it over here on the top here. Okay, and in this here just put in this if condition. Okay, so if it is this if condition, if it is error message, else part we can set this guy to over here. So that's it, right? And similar we can do for we can assign that uh, that y. So go to that question list, copy that message, error message. So where is that error message? Yeah, this is that error message. Copy that, go back to declare over here. So this is the declaration, and after that we have to set over here, go back, just declare over here like this, and yeah, like this, and then we have to set error message inside this over here. That's it, in the exception. That's it, right? Similar we can set it for here as well. Set this over here, right? And also we can set for the same things like this way on the starting. Where is that guy? Yeah, from here. That's it, right? So any while getting and saving is any error and all, so definitely we'll get that over here, or we can show that. So like this way we can set it over here, save it, right? And also we have to missing that, so at the rate, using the at the rate. Okay, so see, this is that one that manage in a question list and manage question, it is fine. And same things we have to do for that quiz. Now go to that quiz, and here, yeah, so now see, this quiz also we are calling this Firebase client. So before starting this Firebase client we have to set it over here, right? Because so that authentication user can only attempt that quiz. So that's why what I can do, again same things we have to do that. So let me just copy paste over here inside this try, right? And this token method also we have to generate it, the token method. So copy that token method over here and get it from there, right? So let me copy the token method. Where is my token method? I don't want to write actually code again and again, so that's why I just copy paste over here. So where is my token method? So go to the token method, go to the definition. Yeah, this is token method. Copy this guy, go back, and just simply paste it over here. That's it. This is one. And also, yeah, that local storage thing, so we have to inject it, that local storage. Copy this guy and just above in this over here. That's it, right? And this is done. And then we have to decorate over here also, like is loading is fine, there is no issue. But yeah, after is loading we have to set over here like that message, right? So if it is that message, that error message, if it's happening, right, so that we can, okay, so this is loading, this is counting, and after that is any error, so we can set it. Okay, so if it is any error, yeah, so an error message, so that error message would be show it over here instead of that result, right? So let me just define that error message as well. So where is that error message? So let me define over here. This is one, and then another part is that define on this load message. So here is my load message here, that is also done, and we have to just capture that error message over here inside this here, that is also done. And one more things actually we have to do that, like answer. So now see, is answer, we have to do same things, right? Because we have to pass in this answer as a token, right? So yeah, I already done, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, I already done, but yeah, yeah, by mistakenly I have to yeah, this is questions, right? So yeah, I have to add it over here, but yeah, that is I added already here, right? But yeah, that's fine. Let me copy that, because every client call we have to edit, so that is fine. And also we have to capture over here, same thing I have to capture for error message over here as well, right? And yeah, that's all. So now we are good to go, and we can show that message over here, and we can here. So before that, what I will do, I will just remove this guy, because this is just only for that learning or understanding perspective. So I just remove this rules, because we don't require these rules, and just publish it. Okay, now only admin can write options for question and result. And yeah, actually one more thing, actually this UUID. So this UUID actually we are missing, so we have to just adding that UUID over there. So how we can just do that? Go back to over here, go to that answer. Yeah, so this UUID questions ID, it is answer, that is fine. Go to that, yeah, so result one. So result one, actually I just, for that understanding purpose, we have to add that just hard coded data. But here what I can do, I can simply inject that Firebase Auth client on the top, and we can get that UUID. Or there's another way, you can just storing that UUID from that your local storage, or also you can get it. So that is also fine. But yeah, that is the best way if we have that client. So simply I can just inject it that client, for example this client, Firebase Auth client, and just bring that namespace, and moving back to this guy to our import.reserve file, globally declarations, go back, and now using this client we can get user ID, and we are pass it to our child node, right? So how we can do that? Simply just remove this guy, and this guy dot user ID, user dot user ID, right? So this way we can just passing as a node like UUID, so that every time we are passing this guy and we can get it. Okay, but yeah, submit result we have to do, also we have to do just passing some token and all, right? So let me just grab the token, use that client, and then pass it over here before calling that. Okay, that's it, right? And now we are good to go, I guess. So let me run it and see in actions. So let me, okay, so it is admin user, that is fine. So if admin user logged in, so you can see the user list, that is fine. If I try to add new questions, okay, so there is some issue. So might be, okay, so let me figuring out what is the issue. If might be I'm missing something. So it is a console. Okay, so might be it is a old token, so that's why it's getting. Okay, so that's means let's log out and logged in, and this admin user, and logged in this user, logged in. And once you go to the quiz list, so once you click add, so now see I'm getting some error. Why this error? So let me check it. So go to that console, and there's a no much things, but yeah, there's a one issue actually. See, there's a reusable component, right? So if you go to that code over here, that manage questions, so one thing actually I missed that over here. See, this is the load questions by ID, but it is always calling on initialize method, right? So that should not be happen actually. It is just once if is new, right? So because see, if it is questions, that means it is new questions, means it is add, and either it is a update, right? So that condition we have to prepare over here, so that they are not calling any DB call by default, right? So save it and close it and go to run it. Now see, this time it should not be getting an error, and this time it should be on authorization error. So now see, it is admin login question list, click on that add new, and now see this time is fine, right? But it is admin user, that means it will work fine. Like let me check it, like okay, admin user question, right? And then A, B, C and D, and just add new questions. So once you add new questions, now see, this is admin users questions. Where is admin user questions? So yeah, I guess this one, admin user questions. So this is that one, and this is fine. And also if you click edit, so edit also is working fine, there's no issue. Like for example, update things and also update, right? and just once you update, it should be working fine. There is no any issue, right? This is perfectly working fine. If you go click edit again, so you will see that update things over there, cancel. And that means for the admin user everything is working fine, right? So now let me logged out and log in with this users, only that users, so user roles. So let me logged in and see this role should not be access on that part, right? So click on that question list, and now see read option is fine because we have already set it. Read is only just not authentication null, so that is fine. But here right, we have to use that only admin user can access, right? So go back, and if I just click add, so that is also fine because we nothing have, just loading this form. But yeah, add questions via user roles now, right? And then A, B, C, and just D, and just once I add, now see once I add, now I'm getting this result because I'm not authorized, right? Why I'm not authorized? Because I have to set that rules only admin can do that, right? So that's why this is perfectly working fine. Now go back to again over here. If I try to edit, so in this edit also we will getting that issue. So for example, I want to edit this guy, so once you click this guy, so that is fine. That edit we are getting that because it is a read options, right? So for the read we are getting the data. Once I try to update, so let me click that update, so I'm getting this response. That means it is perfectly working fine. And if it is user, so that user can start that quiz, right? So let me start that quiz. For example, this guy, this is fine, this is guy, this is fine, this is guy, this is fine, this is guy, this is fine. And once you click this guy, and this is also how many questions. Okay, so this is should be a last one. Okay, so now see I'm getting that. Actually for that user role they can able to access to start that quiz, and they are getting the data as well, right? And same things you can check it, like see this user we are attempt that questions, right? Means quiz. So those data also you are able to see in this here. Like if you go to that database, and you will see that recently so see this is that new user, and in this new user this is a time. In this time actually today's date, and in this date they are getting 3 scores in this particular time, right? So like this way actually you can just secure your database using that Firebase rules, and also you can integrate in our .NET Blazor application. So that we have just covered. But yeah, in upcoming session we will just deploy this complete quiz application using with this Firebase DB and authentication and authorization. We will deploy in our Firebase console, means our deploy in our console Firebase over here. So that also we will deploy this application so that anybody can create their own applications, right? And they don't have to think about, okay, I have to purchase any server, I have to purchase any database, I have to purchase something else, right? So that I can deploy our application. But it is simply we can deploy our application in our Firebase, which is completely free. Till 15 GB is completely free, and user can create their own application and easily he can deploy it. So that we will do in the upcoming session. For the deployed, what you need to do, so you have to just logged in a console Firebase site, right? So let me show you. See, this is that console Firebase site. So you have to logged in with your user. So I'm just logged in with the user. So if you want to deploy it as a new application or new project, so you can just create it over there, or if you have an existing one, so that is also fine. So I also actually create a one session in earlier where I show you like how we can create and how we can just deploy that. But yeah, now this time I will use that same existing project, which is this one. And if you open, so this one actually I just completely just create all that stuff, like for example authentication mechanism. I have to use that authentication mechanism. So see all that user I'm able to see over here, And this is the user informations, and we have other also other stuff as well, like that. This is the authentication, right? And we have that, real-time database. So if you go to that real-time database, so that application, that quiz application, we are using a database which is coming from here. So in this real-time database, now see there is all that collections, and in all that collections we have all that informations, and as well as we have to set the rules in this particular over here, so that actually we have to apply it so that nobody can use it if they does not have any roles and that particular user, right? So like this way we have to achieve. But yeah, there's a two way actually. Either you can just deploy it over here, this particular project, like this Blazor WASM quiz app, or you can just create a new one also. That is also fine. There's no restriction. But yeah, it's good way, like, okay, if I creating that database in this project, or if I just create authentication in this project, so it should be deployment also in this project itself. So what I will do, so if you go to that hosting one, so if you go to that here the hosting options, so the already I just deployed over here, but don't worry, I'll show you how you can deploy it from scratch, right? So you don't need to do anything over here, right? So what I can do first, let me go to our application right here. So first I need to just deploy it, publish this application. So how we can do that? Simply right click on that, publish. There are also as a command like CLI command, we can just publish this application. So you choose that folder, next, and choose that your locations where you want to publish your binary. So go to in our place. So I would like to hosting over here, this hosting folder, and just select it over here, and I will just create another one, like actually Firebase, or just Blaze, or just quiz app, right? So it is a quiz app hosting, quiz app with that particular date time. I can just set it over here, like, okay, 29/8, and now its time is 10:45 AM, right? So just a unique folder name I just over here, because see, once I change it something, so definitely I have to deploy again. So that's why I just keep it that guy. So this is that my folder name where I just want to hosting, right? So let me just finish it, close it, and once you're done, now click on that publish. So it will just take a little time, not more than 1 or 2 minutes. So it will just publish that particular folder, all that binary. Okay, now see, it's got completed, right? Build succeed, publish also succeed, right? First actually build, then publish. So once you publish, you can see this is that folder, right? So once I just control and then click, you can go to directly open that folder, or you can directly you can just go to directly in your location as well. There's up to you. So see, once I deployed or once I publish, right? So there's a creating some files over here, like JSON file and all. So where is our complete binary? Inside this www root. So see, in this side this www root, we have this kind of this folder structure of that publish. Like we have an index, we have that PNG file, we have that style, sample, CSS, and contain and all, right? So what you need to do, nothing you have to change over here. Simply right click on that and go to open any terminal, right? So I just open a terminal over here. You can just use PowerShell, or you can just use an command prompt as well, up to you. That is also working fine. But yeah, not like this way. You can just use another way as well, like you can just open a command prompt and you can choose that particular location in this www root location. You can just go to directly as well. So there's up to you, right? So what you need to do first, if you first time logged in, right? So first time you have to just check actually Firebase version. So if you don't have a install CLI, and also first you just install Firebase, which I already cover on a session in previous session, so you can just cover it. So you have to install that Firebase, right, CLI. So that first you have to install Firebase, and then once you're done, that means this actually command you can use it, right? So that's why you have to install. So once you install, then what you need to do, you have to logged in. So Firebase login. So you just click on that Firebase login. So I already log in with this user, right? This is that my user. So if you first time doing, so definitely it will ask, okay, just it will redirect to actually that browser. You have to authenticate your Google account. so which you account you will authenticate it, so you will just logged in after that. So this process actually if you do first time, but yeah, now I already done, so that's why it's not appearing over here. So once you're done till now it's logged in, right? So then what you need to do, there's a first command. So let me zoom in so that you can just see clearly. So Firebase, right, and init, this is the first command, right? And I want to show you something. You see, as of now there's a this folder structure, but once I Firebase init, let me hit enter, so it will got created few other stuff as well. Now see, this is another folder file is created, and there's options. Yes, right? So are you want to proceed? Yes, I want to proceed. Yes. And once you hit enter, now see there is a other option as well. So let me choose the right option. So which is that my right option? My right option is this guy. So let me zoom in. So this is the right option, hosting configuration file for that Firebase hosting, and optionally set up the GitHub deployment. So what I will do, I will just choose this guy as a space. Once I tap the space, it will select it as a star and then hit enter. So once you hit enter, now see there's a other couple of options over here, right? So if you want to deploy your existing project, so you can choose this one. If you want to create a new project, so you can choose this one, right? So what I will do, I will simply use that existing one because I already created a app and all. If you don't have a created, so directly you can just create it and use it. So I will use the existing one. So once you create existing one, now see it still does not create a does not actually create any other file and folder, right? But yeah, once I choose whatever your project names, now see this is that project name, Blazor WASM, right? So if you go to over here, see this is my project name. So that project I have to choose it over here. So I will choose this guy and hit enter. And once I hit enter, now see it is asking, okay, what do you want to that use that your public folder? So if you want to public folder, if you want to yes, so you can just put it over yes. So I especially recommend you use that whatever that public folder, you can just simply use it. And there is an option also, like see another option, if configure a single page, so then you can yes and no. So that is fine also, because if it is a single page, as of now I don't require, but yeah, if I choose yes, there is a no harmful over here. And then finally the last option is set up automatically build and deploy of GitHub. So as of now we don't require automatic build with the deploy GitHub changes, right? So that I don't require. So what I will do, I simply press N and hit enter. So once you're done, now see it is saying they writing configuration into that Firebase JSON, writing project information in this file, and writing also ignoring file, right? So once you see our folder, see this three folder, this four, actually one folder and three files got created, right? So this is actually Firebase configuration which will they have to create automatically, which will require to deployment, right? So this is important, very important. And now what I need to do, we have to move actually in this public folder. Now see if you open that public folder, nothing, it's just a index.html file, right? So what I can do, we have to just replace our things to inside that. Okay, so so I think it is just once I modify, it is just on a top. So what I can do, just select all that files or folders, okay, and except this public folder, except this whatever actually generated Firebase, so that I have to just unselect it over here, and this is unselected. So this for three files and one folder, we have to unselect it, and we have to move it all that file inside to that public folder. And also you are asking to it is replacing, yes, I want to replace. So want to replace, now see this is our things actually, whatever our content, our file binaries, we have to move it to inside that public folder, and rest of things we have to keep it outside over here. Now we are good, right? And now we also are in this root file folder, www root folder. And now before deployment, actually now the last command is deployment. If I try to deploy, so it will deploy, but before deployment there's one more things over here, we have to check it, right? Okay, in before deployment how actually it look like, right? So there is one more command, Firebase serve. It is actually not necessary, but yeah, before deployment it's really good if we have to check, okay, it is working fine or not, or is there any issue or not. So that we have to just using this Firebase serve. So once I hit enter, it will just creating a local hosting right inside that over here, and it will provide a local server URL, right? And just copy this URL and open any and the tab and just hit enter. So you are able to see now. See, it is there, but now see, once I refresh, it is got actually that CSS is not loading properly, but yeah, now it's loading properly. Also, it is working fine. It is working fine, right? Also, you can just logged in and then you can check it, but yeah, I will not do that because I know it is working fine. And once you see any hitting over that application, you will get many logs over here as well. Like it is, that means it is working. If it is any failing and all, any error and all, you will get that information as well over here. So what I need to do, simply close that, go back to your console and Control C, so that I can exit from there, whatever that currently hosting, right? So one is exit. Now CLS, and final command would be over here, Firebase deploy, right? It is just a deploy command. So once I hit enter, it will start to deploy in our application, in our Firebase. So now see, there's a many files, found 26 files over here in the public folder, and they just try to deploy it, and they just, you know, whatever process is just completed, and deploy also you will see it's the deploy completed. It will just give another 2 URL of the hosting URL. So both of you can use it, but yeah, this one it's basically is a short URL, so I can use it, it's short URL. Copy this URL and just open in another tab and hit enter. And see, this is again first time it is doing, but Control F5, once I do Control F5, you will just load it that XAML and all, right? So it is logged in, so let me logged out, right? So once you logged out, you will see that complete applications over there. That is perfectly fine. Also we can check this is a hosting in our application or not. You can see over here, just refresh in our hosting place in our Firebase console side, there's a section as a hosting, so you can able to see even here as well. Like there's a build options, in the build option we have that hosting environment on hosting option. So once you click that here, now see whatever build you're trying to deploy it, so it is just show on the top. So this is just now we have to deploy it. See the date time also you are able to see 10:55 and this 10:54. That means we just deployed, and whatever that other old applications or deployment over here, that also over here. So there's an option also, if you want to delete, so you can just delete, or if you want to roll back, so you can do roll back. And this is that domain, actually they just default domain, they have to just create it from here, and we can just simply click over here, so it will open automatically, right? But I already open, so let me check it, it is working fine or not. So let me log in with that user, just this guy, and check it is working fine or not. Logged in with this user, now it is working fine. And once I just start quiz, now see, now I'm able to see that start quiz also. This is cool. That means our DB and all, everything is connectivity working fine. And yeah, so this cool, this cool, this is also cool. This is also done. Now finally I got the 2 correct options and 8 is wrong options, right? And also if we go to that question list, so yeah, I'm able to see that question list, but yeah, once I'm trying to add it, so definitely it should be prompt an error. Yeah, so this is that finally error. That means it's working perfectly, working fine. So like this way we can easily our application, we can deploy it in our Firebase hosting, this complete application with that dynamically, which we have to create it with the database and Firebase authentication. So that's all for this session. Have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.